Hi. Am I live? No, we're good. I'm cool with being live. I'm just tweeting that I'm here and to watch and everything. We'll see if anyone hops in. But you do. Okay. Really? Nice. What software? What cards? And what? Oh, okay. Gotcha. How'd you get in that business? How'd you make that a job?
a Magic the Gathering reference.
Oh, okay.
Uh, and so like I know I've collected the cards and played the card game for a really long time. So like I know people that I can like buy and sell cards to in real life. And then I got fired September, I want to say, because I got COVID. And I lost my job because of it.
Uh, huh.
I think the reason I lost my job is because I took it seriously and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to come in with it. And my job did not take COVID very seriously.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm hella bright. Let's see here. Property.
Okay.
Um,
I see free speech.
hmm. That was for yeah, I did a stream yesterday with a friend of mine who he's I've seen him go off a few times uh about like people censoring themselves. And I know it really pisses him off, and I'm making a video about political correctness.
Okay.
So I talked to a few people, and he was on my list. It's my
Okay.
uh,
Cool.
it's sort of been the default background for a bit. I don't know why my oh well, I guess I can just be a little bright. I won't make you I won't make the conversation wait. So it's really nice to get to talk to you again. It's really weird that we both
Yeah,
had technical issues at the exact same time.
that was crazy. I didn't even know. I thought it was just me, and then you said you had all your stuff going on. I was just like, "Oh my god." So, what did
Yeah,
you
it was
want to
pretty
talk
weird.
about? I mean, it's been so long since the last convo. I kind of just forgot about everything, or just anything that's interesting. I mean, I'll answer your questions. Just tell me what you want to, you
Yeah,
know.
I I've seen some of your stuff popping up recently, and like I think that
Ooh,
you're pretty fearless person.
thank you. What makes you say that? What stuff might popped up?
So like I saw the I think you showed it recently, the stuff with you and Lauren Southern's group
Oh,
chat.
that was today. That was Yeah, that was a long time ago. I just re-mentioned it because it was just something interesting. I was like, "Oh yeah, that happened." I just thought about it. What else?
Well, it just seems like for somebody who's gotten a lot of shit in the past, like it hasn't like stopped you or slowed you down like at all from doing like whatever you
No,
want to do. I think that's pretty cool.
thank you. I mean, why would I let it stop me? Like, what's
Um,
the use in that? You know what
have
I'm
you
saying? Then they just went.
have you ever like
I
taken
refuse.
time off from like the internet because of it? I know you said before like that was something that you really didn't want to do.
I
But
spent
has it ever come to that?
an entire year, and it's gonna. I've never. I don't think I've ever officially revealed the real reason why I did it. Should I? Should I reveal the reason? Because it's actually kind of silly.
Oh, I probably sound a lot better now.
Oh, good. Okay, good. So
Um,
in 2018, I
wait.
left the internet for a
Oh,
year.
wait. What happened?
Hello?
I'm sorry. Give me 1 minute. I can't hear anything. What's going on here? Try now. No. What the heck? Um, I wonder if okay, that's going. Oh. Okay.
I'm confused.
I think my Bluetooth, I don't know, something happened and my camera stopped working and my headset stopped working, but we're good now.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just one of those days, I suppose.
Gotcha. Okay.
Hey, Jenny Burns, thanks for following me. And thanks for sticking
Yay.
up for me on Twitter earlier.
What happened on Twitter?
Uh my friend was just like talking shit but didn't give any context, so it looked like he was just like going after me for no reason.
Okay.
Uh he's somebody who I was going to talk to about free speech because he's kind of anti-free speech.
Got it. That makes sense.
And he's a fuck Elder Drazi's free speech in particular. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't
Yeah.
even give you my camera. Here you go. Um
Okay.
so yeah, I seen the Lawrence Owen thing. Like how long ago ish was that?
That was like when I first kind of got into the community. Like I had just talked to Destiny. I had just gotten like did all my original first debates, and I was getting to know everybody. And like some of the people I was in that group with, I'm not even cool with. I don't talk to. Just don't really like them that much anymore. But that's a no whole other story. I don't really know Lauren Southern, so it's not like that. It's just I knew someone else who was in the group who invited me to it because I had edgy views as a trans woman, and I mean, that was maybe like, I don't know, July, August of last year if I had to give a specific time, but that could also be off too. I'd have to look back at my the dates or something.
I see. The thing that it really struck me about it is that she was like looking out for you. She was like, "Hey, you shouldn't share like me endorsing you. People will attack you over." And you're like, "I don't give a fuck."
Well, my biggest worry was that she'd be mad. It's like, how dare you leak stuff? Oh, you can't do that. That was my biggest fear that she was like, but I mean, I guess I appreciate that, but at the same time, it's like, first of all, I want to like post for clout, like, hey, this big influencer thinks I'm cool and like, said this about my image. And I thought it was really funny. It was really funny that I'm this trans woman, right? And I have this picture of me wearing a MAGA hat, or sorry, it was a MAGA cup. I was holding a MAGA cup, and then here's Lauren Southern, praising my picture. And I was just like, I thought it was great. I thought it was a great thing to post on Twitter. And then Keppel's editor found it and posted it as like one of her stuff. And I was like, oh shit. Or some people. And I got a lot of shit for it. But it's like, wait, Lauren Southern's like a white nationalist. How could you? And it's like, yeah, I didn't know much about her. I don't know if I care much about her politics. It's not even that I agree or disagree with her. I just don't know enough about her. I just know that she is a woman who's conservative and is controversial. She had that voting incident. I don't have
Yeah.
strong opinions her way. I just thought she was nice to me in that group. So, if someone's nice to me, I'm nice to them. But like I said, it probably was because of the whole Trump hat thing and not because of like me as a person. I've seen her post some transphobic things, and I didn't know that she posted transphobic things. I guess it's like kind of put two and two together, kind of like no shit. But I was in the group thinking, oh, well, she supports trans people. She's on my side. Like, hey, maybe she's not so bad. But some of the stuff she's posted, I'm like, why? And then a lot of the other trans people there were like so self-hating and almost had like turfy views for themselves. And it's like, I obviously don't feel that way. I don't know. It was weird. I don't know how to feel about that. It was a thing that existed, but I was
Right.
only in there for like, I don't know, a few days, a few weeks, and barely anyone posted in there. So it really wasn't much. It's just funny that that exists. And so I just tweeted it. Have you seen anything else from me? Or anything else interesting? Or
I was gonna listen to your song, but I
the
ended up
Simp Nation?
what is it?
The Simp Nation one?
Yeah, that's the really big one, right?
That's the one that went viral on TikTok. Yeah, I mean, it's a song that went. It literally only exists to go viral on TikTok.
Um,
You're gonna listen to it, but what?
I just hadn't gotten around to it. I've been like insanely busy for like the last like week and a half. But
Okay.
it's on my list of things to do. I asked my wife and girlfriend, and they're on TikTok a lot if they've heard it, and they weren't sure.
I
Just
mean,
a bunch of TikTok songs.
here's the thing. It's how do I say this? It's not like huge, huge. So like the most popular sounds on TikTok probably have like a few million uses for their sound. So if
Sure.
like a few million people use your sound, like your song is being played on the radio, or it's like an old song that gets a resurgence, and it's like a whole thing, right?
Yeah.
My song had 37,000 people use it, which 37,000 separate videos to my song. Imagine if that was like a YouTube video and like 37,000 YouTube videos used the song that you made. That's a big deal. And so like the top video that used my song had like 2.6 million likes. The second one had like 1.6, right? So if you
Oh
I
yeah.
what I did is I used math and I had a some website that I was like searching and stuff. You take all the views from all 37,000 videos and it's a combined total of over 200 million views. But it's weird how it like the top 1% or top 0.1% of videos or whatever
Hmm.
account for like the vast majority, like an absurd amount of the percentage of the actual view total.
Right.
So most of those like views are coming from a handful of like really viral videos, and the 50 100 or so that all have like 100K 100,000 likes or more, which in terms of views could be anywhere from like 500,000 to like a couple million or whatever. I don't even remember the stats. It's been so long. I mean, the song came out like almost 3 years ago at this point, which is actually kind of insane. It was like right before COVID started to become a thing. um it was like a nice little thing. It's not the kind of like huge song that you just expect, like, oh, I know this, like I've heard this before. It'd be the thing where it's like maybe 3 years ago you heard it once as you were scrolling through TikTok, or maybe you don't know it, but like it's so weird to like talk about the popularity of it because I say I had a viral song and then someone will be like, well, I personally have never heard it, so it must have not been viral. And it's like, no, the stats are there. You look at the video, you look at the sound, you can clearly see all the videos. Like Tana Mojo is a pretty big name. She's used it like 5 times.
Oh.
You see all like the view counts, and like this one person who has like 11 million followers on TikTok used my song. She's really popular. Like there's other ways to see like this was a thing, but it's not the kind of thing where it's like it's in pop culture and people know it. There's probably like hundreds of songs that are at a similar level of virality, but if you were to ask, just like poll like 100 people on TikTok, most of them probably wouldn't know what it was. But it was weird because I was in a class and I told people I had a viral song, and then this girl in front of me in class says like, I literally have your song saved on TikTok. And it was like a crazy experience because I was like telling the story of how it went viral. But it was also kind of like around the time that it was like still relevant. I mean, after like middle of 2021, it literally just died off. Like the trend died and it wasn't coming back because it was like when Sid just became popular. I capitalized on the fact that it was a popular term, but like there weren't really any songs for it. And I knew that if I had a popular search term that I named my song after, I would have a shit ton of people searching for that. And if I had a good memeable clip at the beginning, then it could be something. And I was right. It's just a stroke of luck, and I've tried to repeat it. And I know the formula, and I feel like I can do it again, but a lot of it's luck based. So, you just keep going for it. And I also want to be like serious music. I keep talking too much. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. uh, I had a similar really weird experience with like you said, that girl, like you were like talking about it and somebody knew your song. My
Yeah.
mom's 60-year-old roommate loves my YouTube videos, and she didn't know that I was her kid. My mom walked
What
past one
the
time and she heard my
fuck?
voice coming from her roommate's room. She's like, "What are you watching?" She's like, "Oh, a YouTube video." And then my mom stopped and paused. She's like, "Can I see?" She's like, "That's my son." I was like, "What are the fucking
What
odds?"
the fuck?
It's very, very,
Wait,
very weird. And
how
I
is
don't have
that?
that. I don't have that much reach.
Wait, how many views do you get on your stuff? Like that, how the fuck does that happen?
Over 1,000's pretty cool for me. I started in like June, and I haven't put out like any of my like bigger projects yet. I've been like taking it pretty slow. Like I'm making a long video about Mr. Girl, and I
Yeah,
interviewed
so
like everybody in the world about it.
oh my
Um,
God. Wait, can you interview me? I've talked to Mr. Girl.
yeah, you want to talk? You want to talk about Mr. Girl? I could
Yeah,
talk about
let's
Mr.
do
Girl
it.
all the time. So,
No, I want to be part of that video. If you're getting everybody in it, I could be another name, another face to add to the thing. Let's do
you
it.
you got it. So,
Sweet.
so I know that you talked to him, and upon further inspection, I did watch your video a long time ago, and then like I kind of like times two like skimmed over it before we talked. Normally I
Yeah,
would just watch it, but like I said, I've been really really busy.
you're good.
What do you think of him now as opposed to then?
You know, it's so funny because back then, like I said, did I tell you the story? I might have told you the story last time, but essentially, I saw the Cuties review, and after it
Hmm.
came out, I saw like Penguin Zero talk about it. I saw Shoe on Head. I saw like all the big YouTubers made videos about it, but I noticed that none of them saw what I was seeing because I was just fascinated by this guy because all these YouTubers would hate him, but then I'd go on his other YouTube videos, right? Where he talks about like other stuff, and I'd be like, first of all, this dude's a really good editor. This dude has skills in filmmaking, and I could see him potentially blowing up. And I saw he had that potential. He had that way of captivating people. And I just kind of was like, I need to get on this shit before other people do. And when you look at the date that I interviewed him, you can see that I clearly foreshadowed the fact that, yeah, I kind of saw something in him, and eventually other people did.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get on it. And I looked before even that, and I'm talking about months before, like probably 6 months before I even posted my video. I was going to make a video essay exposing exclusive information, and this was, the clip where he talks about like admitting to rape, right? I found that because it wasn't even on his YouTube channel. It was on his Patreon because it got banned off of YouTube, and it was like 30 something people saw it, and I was like, holy shit, this is like insane. Nobody's talked about this. So the problem was I was in like this huge thing. I was going through every single one of his videos, the videos that weren't even on his YouTube. They were in these like weird links. I was going to collect them all, and I was going to expose him, and I was going to like collectively do it. But it took me so freaking long to like edit it all together that by the time I was like about ready to post it, or I put it on the back burner, somebody else had already talked about the information. Somebody else had already like posted something to YouTube, and I was like, "Fuck!" But then months later, I commented on one of his videos. I said I want to interview, and we talked for a bit, and I was like excited. So what? What? Sorry, I keep rambling on. What do I think of him now? How has it changed?
Yeah. Oh, by the
Before,
way, I just want to say I don't think that he was confessing to rape in that story. I think he was telling a really interesting story that sounds a lot like rape, even though he said it was. I think there was a lot of nuance in there that explains that that's not what even he thinks or she thought happened. But go on.
it's possible, maybe, but I'm just we all know the clip, and that's the clip that I found all those years ago. I guess 2 years ago, whatever.
Mhm.
So back then, it was weird because it's like I thought he was for his views about trans people, particularly affected me. I thought he was a weird and kind of creepy dude, but I thought that he was a talented man, and I thought that he had potential and that he could grow a following. And I said to myself, I don't hate this guy. I could have a conversation, but part of me is like a little afraid that he's kind of like, but, and it's so weird because the more I learn about him, it's like it expands upon the lore, but at the same time, my general feeling remains the same. I think the way that he kind of fell out with Destiny makes no sense, and it's just kind of crazy. But like besides that, it really hasn't changed my view. He's just the same old Mr. Girl. The transphobic stuff, I mean, that was, he made a whole fucking series about why like I forget what it was called, like transl culture or
Transel
whatever it
culture.
was.
Yeah, and he had a transel
Yeah,
culture panel as well. Yeah.
well, that might have been the panel, but he had like a 5 video series. I didn't even watch it all on why he was
Oh, I
like,
watched all of those.
trans people aren't valid, and I'm just like, he even said in his interview with me, like it would upset me, and he didn't want to talk to me about it, and it's just like, oh my god. So he has a lot of views that personally I take issue with as a trans woman myself, and some of the stuff he said about like really controversial issues. I like that he's able to talk about things people wouldn't talk about and like have a taboo and have a conversation. But
Hmm.
like some of his opinions, I think, are just so bad, and it's just baffling to see people just like. And then the way he treats his like wife and stuff is kind of iffy. It's like I
Well,
don't want to judge the guy off of like online stuff, but I don't
yeah.
hate the dude. I don't
I
hate him, but he has a lot of sketchy things about him. I don't know. It's weird. Sorry.
I don't agree with a lot of the trans stuff, but I say a lot. I think he's wrong for the right reasons. He's not saying like he's not using like a religious reason. He's literally saying like, "Hey, I talked to experts. I've read a bunch of stuff. I did my homework, and this is the conclusion that I've come to." And like, I'm okay with people coming to an incorrect conclusion academically because that means that the door is still open for a conversation to be had. Um,
Yeah, but sorry.
and I don't know if you know. I would just assume you don't know anything about me. The reason why I got a spot on the panel that we were on together is because like I'm the Mr. Girl guy. If somebody has an issue with something about Mr. Girl, I'm probably going to get like tapped to have a conversation about it. I've been called like the Mr. Girl historian, the Mr. Girl whisperer. Like he's
Oh, that's funny.
it is. I think it's funny too. And I usually like end up clarifying when it seems like a lot of people don't understand what he's saying when he says things. But him and I have a very similar way of talking. He talks on stream the way that I talk in my regular life.
Interesting.
I'm a little bit more diplomatic. I choose my words a little bit differently when I'm talking on stream because I want people to understand me and understand my words at face value. So sometimes I do what could more or less be considered a bit of translating.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. You translate Mr. Girl.
Yeah, that happens quite a bit. There was like a month or so ago, I like defended myself. It was like a 1v9 debate on Stardust Show, me versus like everybody, about Mr.
Wow.
Girl stuff. So, um, it is really cool to talk to you because you're right. You were on it before like a lot of other people were.
Thank
Um,
you.
you're welcome. He like I don't agree with a lot of the trans stuff, but I also think that he doesn't hate well, I would say very confidently, it's not even I think he doesn't hate trans people, and the reason why he didn't want to talk to you about it is because just because he disagrees with you doesn't mean he wants you to feel bad. Um
Oh,
and most of the time when people disagree with like whatever the mainstream trans narrative is, they also want trans people to feel bad. It's like they want to bully them into pretending to be cis.
well, can I have a counter to this
Yeah,
with
by
the
all
whole?
means.
So first of all, you acted well. You said he's wrong for the right reasons. So
Yeah.
first of all, just because he's not religious, that doesn't mean anything to me, right? Like, there's so many ways to be transphobic, and it's like, first of all, if you hate me because like a Bible or a God told you to, like, oh well, God said being trans is bad. Like, you could still like have sympathy for me, right? I feel like the people who
Oh, I
are
think he
like, no,
does.
science says what I'm saying is like, have how many atheist channels are there on YouTube who just spout the most bigoted, anti, like, feminist. I mean, I'm not a feminist, but you know what I'm saying. Like, they
Sure.
just have the most, basically the same as any other right wing commentator. Your Ben Shapiro, your anybody. But the only difference is that, well, I'm an atheist and I don't believe in. It's like you're doing the same shit. You're just removing the Christian part of the thing. Your politics are the same. I don't understand how that makes you any better, other than you're just a jerk to religious people too. Like, oh my God, you're so stupid for believing in God. Oh, like, I just owned you. Like, it's just,
Sure.
like,
Maybe there's
I
a
get
maybe
what you're
there's a
saying.
miscommunication. I'm saying that if somebody hates trans people because they think that it's like you're rejecting how God made you, there's nothing you could ever say to that person that will make them understand what's actually happening. Because God said it, and that trumps anything you could ever bring them. There's no experiment, there's no study that you could ever show them that'll make it click in their head. Go, oh, okay,
Well,
because their beliefs about what God feels is like the ultimate. It's like foundational.
I don't know if I
Like
believe it.
you don't know if you believe
Like,
that that's how religious people work.
no, because I mean, I think a lot of them are stuck in their ways, but like, I can go up, theoretically, I can go to somebody and be like, well, God made me, my mind and my brain is a woman's brain. Like, he made it that way. And I'm not, most religious people probably wouldn't take that, but there are some who could. Like, there are churches, as rare as they are, who can accept LGBT people. Like,
Oh, I'm not saying that
it's,
if you are religious, you can't
yeah.
accept trans people. I'm saying if you don't on a religious basis.
Yeah, I mean, there's arguments that can be made, but obviously a lot of them are stuck in their ways. There's a lot of fucking atheists who are stuck in their ways. Like, oh my God, it's so stupid. Like, and they think they're smarter than everybody else. And it's just like, I don't know.
I think the right reason here is that he did do his own research. He just drew a bad conclusion from it. Whereas most people say I do my own research, and that research is literally nothing. They just took their own opinions as they were, and that's it.
But
Or they
you could
listen to
say the
people that only
same
agree with them.
you could say the same shit about fucking like J.K. Rowling and stuff. Like she's not right for the wrong or she's
Wrong
not
for the right
wrong for the
reasons.
right reasons. She just hates trans people because she thinks that they're fucking predators. You know, she's a feminist. She's just trying to protect women. Clearly that's like the right reason. Wanting to keep women safe. Like I
I
don't
don't think
buy
that I would
that.
say that she's wrong for the right
Okay.
reasons. I'd say that she's wrong for highly emotional reasons that she has no data to support herself on. Mr. Grill went and talked to experts. He went and talked to a psychiatrist or psychologist who was like the at one point in time like the world leader in like she did like the most like pre-screenings for trans surgery.
What's
Um
this person's name?
uh I don't know. And he's not on YouTube. I was about to look up the video real quick so I could pull up her name, but it's gonna take me a little bit longer than that.
Is it the one that's like on all the conservative like podcasts, or is that someone different? I
I
wouldn't
don't
think that
watch
it's her
conservative
because
podcasts generally.
it's not what fuck, I forget the name.
Um
I'm probably thinking of somebody different because I don't think that Mr. Girl would be able to get someone like that on. But I get what you're saying. I'd have to watch the videos, so I
yeah.
don't know because like it was hard for me to watch. Like I think I tried to watch like one or two of them. I couldn't fucking sit through it. Like
And
not because they're bad videos. It's just a tough thing for me to like fucking watch hours worth of content on. You know, oh well, I don't think you're real. I'm gonna go into it in graphic detail on why I don't think you're actually a woman, Rose. Like, not me specifically, but you know what I mean.
yeah, and I he actually he kind of accused me of well, I don't really know how to word it, so I'll just tell you what happened. He made some really, really egregious claims about ADHD and said that he doesn't think it exists.
Yeah,
And
he said that.
essentially, he built an argument for people that are fans of his to not take their medicine. And I lost my fucking
Oh,
shit. I went super hard on him on Twitter, and I talked to him. It was like a 2v1 debate, him and Doobie versus me. And I was super, super fucking pissed off because I thought what he was doing was leading people to like really irresponsible conclusions. And he made the argument that I didn't care about the things that he said about trans people. And I was like, I have always, when and ever anybody's brought it up to me, disavowed the things you've said about trans people. But it's also that's not my fight. I'm non-binary, but I don't consider myself a trans person. Like it's never really affected my life in any way negative. Like I don't have a struggle to identify with. So
okay.
I'm not going to more or less like take up the mantle, but I'm not going to support anything that he says about it, and I have disavowed it every time it's ever come up. Um, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I don't agree with all the things that he says, but he's still my favorite streamer. Uh, I think that he comes at things in a more interesting way. I also think that he's overwhelmingly honest to his own detriment.
I mean, yeah, it's like he is a unique figure, right? And that's what I said. Like I don't know if I'd say that I was like a fan of his. I was just fascinated by his content. I would always watch it. And it's like it would either like be because he said some stuff I agree with. He said some stuff like, yeah, I don't remember exactly what, but he's made some good videos, but he's also said some like crazy shit. It's like I don't think he should be deplatformed. I think he should absolutely have his YouTube channel. Like I think that's fucking bullshit. But at the same time, it's just like I, I don't know I don't know what I'd call like my relationship with like his content. It's just I'm interested. It's kind of like a train wreck, but it's kind of not a train wreck. I don't know if I'd classify it as that. It's just you hear someone speak in a way that people usually don't speak, and it's just you don't see it that often. But at
True.
the same time, it's really bad. And a lot of people, especially the trans stuff, they like agree with him. You know, he has an influence on certain like kinds of people. And it's like I don't know if I'd say like harmful. There's a lot more harmful people when it comes to this stuff. But yeah, it kind of like, he started doing the trans stuff, he started all that other stuff, and I was just like, I wouldn't call myself a fan. Even if he was making content on YouTube, I probably would have checked out like months ago. And it's like I'm happy for him, but it also I feel like he's become like less personal. Like for whatever reason, on his like Mr. Girl, like maybe I haven't like watched like the hotline stuff, but in the later months of his channel being active, it was really like you could only talk to him or really get in touch with him if there was like a reason, like you were like a specified like professional or whatever, or if you blah blah blah. And if it didn't feel like he was somebody that you could like reach out and touch, he only ever posted on his Twitter account if there was like an announcement of like this new video's coming out. And it was like one of the reasons I felt he was so compelling is like when he was still small, it felt like you could talk to him. It felt like he had like a small knit community. And he just kind of, the bigger he got, the more like followers and stuff. I feel like he kind of lost that too.
Well, that's
And
what
it
the
was just
hotline
like
was
this
for.
really weird space. Yeah, I guess maybe.
Yeah,
I like I said, I never watched the hotline, but it's just, I don't know.
even people that already had a presence sometimes have called into the hotline as well. You
Yeah,
have if you have an audience, you have a higher priority in talking to him on the hotline than if you don't.
I guess
Um,
that's fair. I don't know. I just I don't know. I mean, I feel like I've said all that I really could say about Mr. Rule. Just interesting character. The lore expands very deep, but it's like kind of predictable at a certain point. He just says maybe it's beyond just saying edgy things, but I feel like most people look at his channel and it's like, yeah, he just says a bunch of edgy, non-typical things.
I think things that he says are often edgy. I was really surprised he put out together a panel on abortion. He had like the most milk toast, like mundane, boring take on abortion ever. It was like the most fence city thing I have ever heard, and I was sort of
Wait,
surprised about it. And
what was his take on abortion? Sorry.
he said, well, it kind of said, well, the people that don't want abortion to happen think that it's murder, and it's kind of murder. He goes, but at the same time, like we can't stop women from making their own decisions. So he's like, I think that it's both, because either you have to let people kill babies or you have to make women be slaves, and I think that both sides have to acknowledge that like that part of it that they don't want to talk about, otherwise can't really do anything about it. So he's just like, I understand both sides very well, and I agree with both sides. And I was like, oh, that's very
Yeah.
very fence city. I was surprised, and he said, like, yeah, most of his opinions are boring and normal, but that's why he doesn't stream about them usually, because they're not interesting.
I
You
mean,
can,
I kind of do the same thing. Like, I may only make YouTube videos about my controversial opinions because what am I supposed to do? Oh no, rape is bad, guys. Let's make a video about why pedophiles are bad. Like, if you're making, I'm sorry, if you're a YouTuber who makes 42 videos on why pedophiles are bad, it's like, are you compensating for something? Like, why are you this like talking about pedophiles so much? It's kind of fucking weird. Like, I get it, pedophiles are bad, but like do I really need to make 30 videos to convince you of that? Like what's the fucking point? I'm just virtue signaling at that point. Like
well, he's
we
not
all
making videos
know.
that pedophiles are bad.
No,
He's
no, no, I
making.
know. That's what
Oh,
I'm just
gotcha.
saying. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
I
Yeah, yeah.
agree on that certain extent. Like
Yeah, I think
yeah.
it's weird too. Uh I think it's just a good way to get clout, and people hear somebody saying pedophiles are
Oh,
bad and they
absolutely.
start
Absolutely.
shitting their pants and freaking out like, "Oh, I think that too." And I could do this all day.
Yeah,
Uh
it's just an
Performative
easy fucking
outrage.
way. An easy fucking way to like get people on your side. Like you say the obvious fucking thing, and people say this like YouTube drama too. It's like let's dogpile on the person everyone already fucking hates. Like what does that do? It's like we're all people, and I like to balance things out. Like this one, if I see somebody who has like fucking millions of followers and everyone fucking loves them, and I'm like, well, hold on a second, this person has some fucking issues too. I want to talk about that, and then maybe when public opinion changes, they'll look back and be like, oh wait, you were actually onto something. So that's like why, and I haven't been doing this as much. I've kind of been a little inactive, and kind of sucks for that. But I really just want to, get people thinking in a different way. I want to get people like to kind of like acknowledge different things, not in the sense of like to be shock value, to be controversial. It's just I say what I think, I say what I feel, and I guess kind of like Mr. Girl, but like I said, I feel like I'm very different from him in like our beliefs and shit.
Sure. Do people
I
call
think
you a
that's obvious.
contrarian a lot? Do you get that a lot from people?
I don't know, maybe. I mean, people call me a troll based on my opinions. Like some people think I'm like a bad take generator, whatever the fuck. Like I just say like the wackiest shit, and it's just like, well, hold on. I just think I disagree on these certain issues. But I also think part of it is because Twitter, the types of people that revolve on Twitter have like these crazy like things. Like I don't think most people in real life are like ultra like left leaning people who want to like all white people are evil and all men are evil for being part of like the patriarchy and shit. And it's like I think people in real life aren't that extreme. So when I come there and I'm like, actually, I don't think all white men are evil. I think like most people in real life are like that, but it's like a lot of people also, and it goes both ways. Like a lot of people aren't like super fucking defensive. Like most people just don't fucking care. Like they look at this shit online or they don't look at the shit online, but if they do, they're like, oh, it's just crazy people, whatever. They don't feel like this insane need to like, oh, white men are being attacked. We need to defend. It's like it's a medium of neurotypical behavior. And that's why they don't spend 10 fucking hours a day at twitter.com. Um, I mean, like, I don't know where the fuck I lie in all this shit, but my opinions, I feel like, differ from like the average Twitter user. They're not like super right, they're not super left, but they're just as opinionated, just as maybe extreme, just not in the typical way, not in the typical form. Usually they fall into one of two teams, one of two sides, the far left or the far right. And I am just no one really knows where to place me. And I don't know where the fuck to place me. So yeah, I mean, take that how you will.
Um, well, I mean, that sounds like what would be generally considered to be a centrist, although that seems to be like a dog whistle for saying I'm a conservative undercover, but
I don't know if I am, but like some people I have
yeah, I'm not
conservative
calling you.
views, but
I'm not calling you
I
that.
also have very liberal views. But
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I think of the Vosh debate, he called me a centrist, but I'm not a centrist.
Um.
I don't know what the
Well,
fuck I am. Maybe I am.
are you still a pacifist?
Yes, I am. The Ukraine stuff. I don't know if you know my takes on Ukraine.
Yeah, you told me last time. You said you think that Russia should just
Oh,
let them have
okay.
it, or they should just let Russia have it.
Yeah, is that like a little extreme? Maybe. Is that like a little like I get it. Like I don't think that like Russia claiming Ukraine is like a good thing. I just think it's like
It's the third
not
largest
as
country in
bad.
Europe.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I think Russia regaining control of Ukraine is less bad than like millions of people potentially dying trying to save Ukraine. Does that make sense? Like it's a thing. Like I used to have, and I kind of still like. Was the Revolutionary War really worth it? If you really think about it, like, was it really worth it? Like just over some fucking tea taxes? Like maybe it's definitely more complicated than that. Like when's the last time I read a history book? But I mean, just the whole like concept in general of we need to have these wars for shit. And it's like, I don't, if we really think about it, is it worth it to kill all these people for slightly better freedoms? I don't
Um,
think so. The freedoms are good, but it's like over that kind of loss, how do you like value the terms of human life? Like say, oh, it was worth millions of people dying for slightly better. No, it fucking wasn't. I'd rather live in a slightly more oppressive country and have millions of people not be dead.
Well, I think
Is
the
that like
idea
a
is that
crazy thing to say?
so I think the idea though is that if nobody's willing to stand up and fight, things will get. It's not the freedoms that you're. It's not just the freedoms that you're currently fighting for. It's to prevent future ones from being taken away too. Because the government doesn't exist to give you freedom. The government exists to create laws, and laws specifically are designed to restrict your freedom. Like the Bill of Rights in the United States are things that the government cannot do.
Okay.
Um, so I think that the idea, like why I would say that it's probably worth fighting for Ukraine is that if Ukraine gets taken over and now that's just Russia, um, there's nothing like this incentivizes Russia. If nobody does anything, it incentivizes Russia to just annex more territory and just keep on taking over. And to the point, like if we got to the point to where everything but the United States is Russia, and it's like, well, we should probably just let them have that too, and then they control everything. And like, what's going to stop them from doing
Oh,
imposing any laws they want?
no, I disagree with you. I think
So is there a
worst
point where
case
you'd say
scenario.
stop giving them shit?
Well, I think worst case scenario, Russia takes a few of the Eastern European countries, but they're not going to attack any countries under NATO. The NATO countries are safe. A few of those like smaller countries in that region around Ukraine, yeah, Russia would probably go after those two in a couple of years. It wouldn't happen right away, obviously. It would be like a slow process that occurs over X amount of years. Within that amount of time, Putin's like, from what I've heard, Putin is really sick and he's probably going to die anyway. And when the new leader comes to power, who fucking knows if that new leader is going to want to keep doing what they're doing? Obviously, like Russia is kind of suffering. It's costing them money, and they're not doing so hot. And like I said, if Ukraine wants to defend themselves, whatever, just the U.S. shouldn't get involved. Like it's not our fucking job to be the world police. Like how fucking well has that gone for us in the past? But suddenly it's Ukraine. We have to do this shit. It's like no, if and that's like I said, if so, and this is why I'm against like the draft and all this shit. If there's not enough people willing to risk their own fucking lives and nobody's forcing them to save your country, then it's not worth saving. If you have to take a single person who's not willing to fight, if you have to take a single person and force them into battle, basically force them to commit suicide, right? In order to quote unquote save your country, then I think your country isn't worth saving. Because at that point, all the values you claim to stand for are being like there's no point. Like you're just saying, well, I have to murder some people to protect the values of other people. And it's like, well, then you don't have any values. If you're willing to sacrifice your own people's lives, then you don't fucking have values. It's bullshit. So I can't with that. And also fuck Putin, right? Like he supports J.K. Rowling. He's an evil dictator. He's just the most bigoted you can be. Like he hates LGBT people. But
Yeah.
Ukraine isn't like super like trans accept. Like that's the fucking. I hate these fucking lefties with the Ukraine flags in their bios. Like y'all realize that Ukraine is like one of the least LGBT accepting countries in Europe. Like they're not super friendly or anything. Like are they slightly better than Russia? Sure, but that's not hard. Like come
Uh,
on, they don't really have rights. Like they fucking trap trans women in the country. They won't let trans women leave because they're transphobic and they see trans women as men, and they're forcing all men
well,
into the country because they're sexist too. Like it's just
I think that they're forcing trans women into from leaving the country because people can just say I'm trans to avoid the draft. It's
oh
not
my
like they're like we don't like trans women, so therefore like trans women can't leave. I think it's like a catch to make sure that people aren't going to do this to try to leave because 1000%, if I was going to be drafted tomorrow, unless I was trans, I would lie and say that I was 100%. You're not going to make me kill people.
So there's many things. First of all, like I said before, I'm against the draft in total. I think what they're
Sure.
doing for men is fucking evil. But second of all, it's just like first of all, I don't buy it. Like I said, their LGBT acceptance is just low around. Like they don't see trans women as like women and stuff. But it's like there's people that they know, right? Like you can see in like documents and shit that these people transition like months or years before the fucking war even started. So like there's ways that the country knows that these people are trans and that they've been transitioning for a long time. You can look at the records. When did they start getting hormones? When did they start seeing people? So you would know like who is like actually trans and who is just pretending like wearing like a dress. Like I don't think you should just be able to like wear a dress and claim to be trans. You should actually have like documentation, and the way the documentation works, you'd have to have it before like a certain date Like there's easily ways to do it, but they won't do that and they don't care because it's not about that shit. It's just that they don't see trans women as women and they see trans women as quote unquote men who are capable of doing stuff, and it's just fucking awful. And that they're just like I said, as a trans woman myself, it is just like the worst imaginable scenario. I think it's just pure evil, and I refuse to fucking support a country or refuse to fucking let my fucking tax dollars go to a country that does shit like that. And I'm tired of people being like, "Oh, how dare you!" Like, not support this country. Like, fuck that. Like, they're not perfect. They're not fucking like I could link you these videos on YouTube of like trans women who are from Ukraine who are like, yeah, Ukraine is like bad. But like the media doesn't like to show these fucking stories and they have like their own Nazi group. But obviously, it doesn't speak for like the whole country, but there's problems there. I'm just tired of people acting like they're this great country and like, oh my
Well, I
God.
think I think it's that they're better than Russia. Like if you have to
Like
pick a
what,
side.
2% better? They're
Well,
2% better?
I
Like, do I
don't.
have to vote against Stalin or Hitler? Like, is that like a vote I want to pick?
I
They're
think that
both
most.
bad.
I think for most people, whether you're going to choose like Russia or something else, um, I think that maybe LGBTQ rights aren't like the first issue that comes up.
And that's
Um,
fair. Maybe for most people it isn't. But like I said, as someone who's like personally affected by that stuff, it's something I think about. I get it though. I get it.
yeah, is that I guess I wonder, is that like the lich pin like thing? Like if they did everything else like to how you'd like it, but that wasn't the case, you'd still say like, well, I guess this is worth like protecting, or
I'd have to think about it. Like, I mean, we're going into like big hypotheticals. I can't know 100% how I'd feel.
I just
But
trying. I'm not even trying to like pin you down here. I'm just trying to understand how you think about it, because
it's a
it
mix
is
of
really rare that
it's a mix
somebody's
of a
like
lot of things.
Russia should we should let Russia have it. It's not that's like that the most insane thing, but for the reason that you're saying it is, I think is incredibly rare. So I was just trying to
I believe
understand
you.
from your
Like, yeah,
perspective.
it's not a common position. I understand, but I think the reason that I'm saying it makes sense to me. I'm not
Yeah,
fucking
that's
faking it. Like I'm passionate about it. Like
yeah, I agree, and I think that the fact that you have yeah, you said you have passion behind it. I can tell when you're talking about it, which is why I'm uh asking questions to like
that's fair.
help like illuminate the thing that I can't see. If it is
Okay, yeah,
if that
cool.
is the main thing, if it's because you don't like the record on LGBTQ rights, and you're saying that like if a country's not doesn't have like a good track record on this, then we shouldn't care to defend it. Okay,
Well,
I just didn't
that's
know if that
one
was like
reason.
the okay.
But also, it's just in general. I don't think that the United States should be getting involved in foreign conflicts. I just don't think it's our place, and we should be spending money. Like think of like the billions and billions of people. It's so stupid. Like Democrats will be like, what small percentage of like the budget, like 40 billion or 20 billion dollars is, and I'm like thinking, what could you do for 20 to 40 billion dollars? You could do significant fucking shit in our own country. We can do significant things to help the people that live here, but they won't do that. They don't care. All they care about is let's fund some foreign country most people in this country have never fucking even heard of before this. It's like, what's the purpose of that? We have people homeless. We have people starving. We have record high inflations. We have millions of Americans that aren't being heard. They're constantly being told they're awful fucking human beings by everyone around them for stuff they can't control about themselves. Meanwhile, they're being told, like, it's fucking ridiculous. The world that these people are living in, and that they want to take our tax money and fund it to this country that isn't even like worth saving, in my opinion. So it's just an absurd misuse of money. And the fact that the media is just like wanting to hammer it down that you're a bad person if you don't believe this and that you must believe this, or, you know, it's just,
40
I
billion is a
don't
quarter of a
understand
percent
it.
of the annual budget, by the way.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And it's like, I get it, right? A quarter of a percent, if you look at it in that sense, yeah, it's of that percentage, there's more. But at the same time, I think military spending. I'm anti-military spending, and military spending is much more than a quarter percent. It's like a significant portion, right?
Mhm.
That's part of military spending. But I think the reason, and first of all, it is partially the money. Like I said, I think the military spending should be significantly cut down, like a ton cut down, and should go straight to Americans for like UBI healthcare, making school more affordable, just stuff like that that could actually fucking help people, social utilities, like that's way more important than the military. Well, with Ukraine, you're basically spending money for people to die. You're basically funding people dying. You're giving people weapons. You're giving people, like, I don't see it as, oh, well, we're helping people. I see it as people that I don't like are going to die and we're happy about it, which is just fucked up. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
like not every Russian is Putin. Not every Russian, like, and a lot of them are fucking, sorry, I say that word way too much. I don't even know why. They're just fed propaganda. It's not their fault that they believe it. It's all they've been taught their entire lives. Of course, that's what they're gonna like. North Korea is this way too. It's like I don't think that they're evil people. They're just victims of being brainwashed by like the Russian propaganda media and lies and stuff. And like they have terrible views of LGBT people. Like I acknowledge that. Like I think Russia is a terrible country where things happen, but I'm not so blinded by. It's just weird. It's bizarre, and I don't know. I've just never understood the way that most people respond in situations like this.
Um, yeah, when it first happened, I thought it was really weird because everybody, like a lot of my friends, had immediately sort of like taken a position really strongly, and I didn't really know
Mm-hmm.
much, and I was just like, well, I don't know. Like, is there any like history that might explain why Russia? And I was pretty open to the idea that maybe Russia wasn't doing something insane because I didn't know anything about it.
No, they kind of
Which
did
I
do
made.
something insane. They
Well,
kind
I
of,
didn't
yeah,
know.
I get what you're saying.
So I was like, "Do you guys know?" And like, they didn't really know. My one friend, he's usually pretty
Russia attacking
informed.
Ukraine? Very wrong. Sorry, what were you saying? Your one friend was
Uh,
usually informed?
yeah, he kind of like told me some stuff. Like, okay, well, I'll look into it, and I was like, okay, yeah, sure. But I kind of argued with them just so that I could see if I had anything, uh, like if there was anything like substantive that he knew that would like push back against the idea that maybe Russia felt like they had a claim to it, like a legitimate
Mm-hmm.
claim to it. And like I think they kind of feel that way. I think that Putin
Mm-hmm.
definitely feels that way, but like I don't know. I think that no matter what, if they wanted it, I think that the way they went about it is wrong. And yeah,
Yeah.
I can't like condone uh blowing up a bunch of shit to get what you want.
Oh, absolutely. And by the
Ew.
way, here's my stance on the whole thing. I think Russia has some sort of legitimate claim. Think about it this way. Ukraine as a country, this country that supposedly has years worth of culture, it did not exist in 1990. It is an insanely new country, right? So I don't want to hear all this, oh, they're culturally so different from Russia. And it's like they have so much similar with Russia, especially like Crimea and like all these other places. They're like, I guess they're kind of different, but they're essentially Russia. Like, I don't see it as like they have their whole separate, unique culture. Now, that can be true to some extent. I do sympathize with the idea that, they want to reunite or whatever. That being said,
To be fair,
murdering,
Ukraine's been a
sorry,
country longer than Russia has.
how is that so? Like
Russia became
the
a
Soviet
country on
Union.
Christmas of 1991.
Yeah, but like the Soviet Union is like Russia. Come on, let's be honest.
But there are some distinct differences. But sure, I would just say like if we're talking about how old the countries are, Ukraine beats
I
them by a
guess,
couple months.
I guess, but Russia and Ukraine were like part of the Soviet Union, which was basically Russia for all extents and purposes. Well, fuck, what was I saying?
Uh, you were saying that
About the right to have the land there.
yeah. So well,
But
I
then
guess
there was,
like
oh yeah,
Ukraine
but
could have claim to Russia then too. They were both part of the Soviet Union.
no, it's not. It's clearly whatever. The point I'm saying is, regardless of that, right? Regardless of what I believe is their mostly legitimate claims to land, I also believe, and this goes back to what I said about pacifism, okay? I'm not like a fucking Russia simp or whatever some people think. Like, you don't just fucking kill and murder innocent people. Like, I think Putin is an evil, terrible fucking dictator for doing that shit. Like, just because there's land that is yours that someone else is occupying, and I totally believe they have the right to the land, absolutely, 100%, no doubt. But just because that's the case, that doesn't mean you get to fucking murder people. Like, you don't just get to murder people to be like, oh, hey, we're a family, let's reunite. Just kill all the people. Just be like, okay, see, we're a family now. Aren't we such a united family? And then it just like murders everybody. And by the time the family's united, like half of them are dead. Everyone's fucking traumatized by the whole event, and you basically ruined everything. Like, that's not fucking family. That's not you caring. That's not you trying to reunite. You're just a fucking monster. It's fucking bizarre to me that that's the case. And it's like, that's obvious, right? Like, I don't feel like I need to say that because I feel like everyone agrees that like what Russia did was wrong. So like when
Yeah.
I say fuck Ukraine, when I say that, that's not me saying like go Russia, like Russia's fucking no. Putin's evil for just murdering people for no fucking reason. And even if he did have a reason, it doesn't justify shit. You don't just fucking murder people, especially in the time and date that we're in. We know better. We've evolved past this. Like, it's insane what they're doing.
You're not the first person to say that I think that Ukraine should let Russia have it. That like that I respect. There's a philosophy streamer, perspective philosophy, who had this take.
Oh,
Basically said
can
that
you
it's
link me their channel?
sure.
He basically said what?
He said that just due to the amount of people that are going to die and it's because that Russia's never going to quit. That
That too.
it would basically essentially the argument is that since Russia's not going to quit and they will like to the detriment of their people and the Ukrainian people, people on both sides are going to die because of Russia's actions, that we should just let them have Ukraine so that the killing stops.
No, and I agree. I absolutely agree. Can you do me that channel, please?
Yeah, I'm DMing it to you right now.
I think the problem that they have is that people are so stuck in their ways. They're so like, they're so stuck on we can't let Russia have anything. We can't let this bad person have anything that they want. We have to stick it to them. And it's like they don't even acknowledge that sticking it to Russia could be harmful and kill more people than just giving in and being like, fine. They, for whatever reason, for whatever moral justification twisted in their mind that they have, we can't let a bad person get away with anything. We can't let, so they're so stuck in their morals, so stuck on, good people must prevail. Bad people can never, win or have this thing that it's like, at what cost? At what cost are you doing this? Do you not care about the lives being lost like you claim to? But you wouldn't do anything to stop it. There's a big fucking solution that you're just overlooking because it's not what you want. It's not the way you want it to end. But it clearly would help. Like, Russia has a list of demands that seem somewhat reasonable. Why don't you just like give in a little bit? Be like, okay, fine, you can have this territory. You could do these things. Just promise you'll stop the war, and you know, see if that works. I mean, give it a try. I mean, Russia could fucking lie and keep doing stuff anyway. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I keep talking way too much.
no, you're good.
You
I
know,
think that like whenever something like this happens, we typically do go after the bad guy. Like you use Stalin as an example. Like when large public figures try to take other parts of the world over for themselves, we usually resist this and put an end to it. And I think that like that's the precedence has been set. And I don't think I've ever heard anybody say like well it would have been we would have been way better off if we didn't fight in World War I or World War II.
mm,
Like we've always sort of like pushed back against like wars that were designed to take over other countries.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think that without that precedent, it'd get pretty nutty. I think that the only reason why like China doesn't have Taiwan is because there's very much a precedent set that like you just can't go and take shit.
Yeah. And also keep in mind the only reason that World War II even happened was because after World War One, like the stuff that we made Germany do, we fucked over Germany so bad that they resulted to somebody like Hitler because he promised the Germans like that they wouldn't have to deal with the shit, and they needed it because their country was in like financial ruin or something. Or I mean, I could be like, I don't know a ton about like the history and stuff, but this is like from what I've heard. It's like a lot of the solutions, a lot of the agreements, like you don't just like fuck over people. You have to treat them like decently. Like if you just say, "Oh, this country's terrible. Let's put all of this stuff on Russia. Let's stop them from getting any sort of business." Like you're just encouraging them more. Like, "Oh, we're not going to, get oil from Russia. We're not going to put our businesses in Russia." Like, "Oh, great. Now all the people that eat in Russia are going to eat in Russian-owned countries." And guess what? Those countries are putting even more of their money into the Russian government than the fucking US countries. So, does that help? They're not going to eat McDonald's in Russia. Hooray.
Well,
Like,
I
am I
think
missing
it's
something?
so maybe I think that when you start taking things away from them, the people that are sort of sitting by and letting things happen, the more and more they're inconvenienced by the war, the more likely they are going to revolt against the power structure that's allowing it to happen. Which ideally, like as a pacifist, I think that's probably like the maximally best outcome, is that by omitting things that they would normally get as a way of pressure would be probably the best way to stop it from happening. Like for instance, if they shut down like the top like 10 video games, like if they just stopped like allowing Russians to be able to play them over there, I bet you'd get some gamers off their asses and start fucking rioting because their government's stopping them from being able to play their games.
I mean, that's the thing, though. It's like, first of all, if I was a person, I wouldn't be mad at Russia for that. I'd be mad at like the fucking West for doing that shit for no reason.
But
So, I mean,
these are like
your
independent
anger,
companies that are doing it,
but
right?
also what you're doing is like you're hurting the innocent people in that country. And that's what people don't understand, right? The innocent people in Russia, a lot of them don't support Putin. A lot of them don't like Putin.
But
A lot of Russians protest against the actions. Now they're being punished too, and that just feels weird. Like, why are you punishing Russians who, don't even agree with this stuff? It's just weird to me. I don't understand. Why blame a whole country? Why just attack where it hurts? Like, it's stupid to me. I don't understand the reasoning. Like, it's better than fucking war. I agree.
yeah.
But even that, I'm just like, it's so weird to me, and I don't like it. I don't
Well,
know.
well, I don't think that I'm like a full on pacifist, but I'm pretty opposed to physical violence, and
Yeah,
I would much rather see citizens of Russia get punished by way of like taking away conveniences than seeing people in Ukraine like getting their houses bombed by Russia.
well, I agree. I just don't see how that helps anybody. I don't think it does. I think it just inconveniences and annoys people. Like, I don't think anyone's going to protest because their favorite, like, fast food restaurant shut down or,
McDonald's
like, their
maybe
favorite
not,
game.
but their favorite game. Oh, I would be astonished if it didn't happen. A lot of
No,
people like they live for these games.
like, first of all, like China, for instance, a
Yeah,
lot of American releases, like all the Marvel movies, they have been released in China for like years and years. And people are passionate about like Marvel and like Star Wars and all that shit,
yeah,
or
but
like
if
just
they
like
don't have
movies
it,
in
they don't know what they're
general.
missing. People in Russia,
Well,
that's like gaming is huge in Russia.
yeah, it's
Anybody who
just
plays
like
CS:GO can tell you that.
I imagine, like, maybe I don't know the deal, but it's like there's countries where shit gets banned all the time. Like TikTok is banned in other countries and all this stuff. People don't riot on the streets for that. Like, I mean, if TikTok got banned in the US, would I riot on the streets? I don't know.
I think,
I
well,
probably wouldn't.
sure. I think that while people really, really like TikTok, I think people are a lot more passionate about the games because there's like communities that they're a part of. And like, this is like, you might go on TikTok and watch videos for 6 hours, but if you play games for 6 hours a day, like, this is like, this is a huge part of your life. This is what you're thinking about. I think watching TikTok is a very passive thing, and gaming is a very active thing.
Maybe.
Uh,
I just don't see people like rioting over that. I just don't see that being the reason. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you
and
ever
I've
see the
yet to
video of
see it
that
in
kid who
Russia.
shoved a remote in his ass because his WoW got taken away from him?
I get it. There's people who are very passionate about these things. I'm not going to lie to you. I just don't see it fundamentally changing a whole country, and I don't see it being a justification to ban that thing. I think it's just virtue signaling by people who want to increase sales in the West by making their company look
Oh,
like they're taking a stand and they're
I
doing what's right.
definitely think that that's what the companies are doing, but I do think that it does apply a pressure that the hope is that when it'll build up over time to where like they're not gonna be willing to lay down and just like let things happen anymore.
It applies pressure, but Russia's not gonna fucking stop their war because oh no, a few popular games. Putin doesn't care. He doesn't give a fuck.
Uh,
And like some Russians care, but it's not gonna really cause change. It just doesn't do anything. I refuse to see how it does. It's just silly to me.
um, what will you say? You refuse to see? You're saying like you just can't imagine this being the case, yeah?
I can't imagine, yeah, like I
Okay.
can't imagine like banning a video game or a popular movie or whatever, or like a place that an American brand that people like or whatever. I just don't see how that really does anything. Like maybe it hurts their economy a little bit, but like if Russian owned companies, like I said, like that helps Russia, I think, if I'm not
Um,
wrong. If the Russian owned companies take that void.
if they do, I don't think like a Russian-owned company is going to be able to like rival McDonald's.
Well, no, but if McDonald's is banned, they're gonna have to, or like they have to eat from somewhere. Someone is gonna have to replace that, and so they just make their shitty clone, and then that's what people choose to eat. Like it's not gonna be as good, but it's gonna probably make a similar amount of money.
Yeah, if we really wanted to like fuck over Russia's economy, we could just jack up gas prices. Russia like almost shut down a few years back because gas prices, or sorry, we could lower gas prices. Gas prices got so low that like the Russian economy was like on the brink of collapse because they make the majority of their money off of gas taxes.
But gas prices are going up, and they're going up because of what the U.S. is doing to Russia, or what
Um,
Europe is doing to Russia too, obviously.
well, yeah, because we have to use other forms of gas instead of like Russia's natural gas. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, I think I understand where you're at. Um,
yeah, we can move on. I'm sorry, we can talk way too much about Russia and shit.
I mean, if you have anything more you really want to drive in, I don't mind.
Nah, I'm good. I said it all. What else do you wanna? Anything else interesting?
Um, yeah, I know you did the panel and you're willing to talk to me. I think I asked you last time, like, what are your plans moving forward? And you just said I think you said you're just like kind of like going with it. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're just like keeping your eyes open and waiting for something to like grab you to where you're like, oh, this is what I want to do next. Yeah.
yeah. I'm still waiting for that. I'm just taking it slow. I'm focusing on school, focusing on life. I'm just seeing where it goes.
Um, that's fair. If you don't mind me asking, what's your main focus of study?
Communications, marketing.
Oh, nice. I'm a big
My
fan of marketing.
major. Yeah, I want to do marketing, and I want to do possibly a master's degree in marketing. I'm going to apply for that when I graduate after the semester.
That's pretty
So
cool. I took
yeah,
a technical
I,
centers course in high school for marketing, and I really loved it. But I got in trouble. Um,
why'd you get in trouble?
it was during. I'm sure you're familiar with Spirit Week.
Spirit Week, like pride for your school?
Yeah. And they'd always have themes at my school. But basically, during Spirit Week every year, I would just sort of like do whatever I felt like. I would just sort of ignore the theme and just kind of like go a little bit wackier or however I felt. And that day, I wore a dress to school, and my friend Kelly let me use her necklace. And my teacher was upset that I didn't look professional. I was like, well, what's unprofessional about this? And she said, stop it. And I said, stop what? She said, stop it right now. So I put my hands up. She said, tell me what to stop doing and I'll stop. And so then she sent me to the office. And then I was told that I had to write like a 200 word like
Oh
letter
God.
saying what I did wrong and how I won't do it again. I was like, yeah, but I was never told what I did wrong. So I didn't write it. And I got kicked out of it after being there for, it was like, I was like in my second year of the technical center.
It's probably because you wore a dress. I mean,
Yeah,
oh.
that was it. But I'm not going to write anything about it. And they have to say it, not me. I'm not going to say that for them.
Well, that's the thing is like it's obvious, but they can't like officially say it because they know how that looks. Because there's people online who, you know,
Yeah. Especially when I was younger, like marketing was like a big passion of mine.
no, I
it's really
love it.
fun.
I think it's great. I think, yeah, but I like the classes that I'm doing. Looking forward to it. We'll see how that goes for me.
Do you do
I
all
have
your
a
own editing
bioscience
too?
for my YouTube videos. Yeah, how come?
I was just curious because I find editing to be like a lot of work. I find it to be pretty difficult. Like I'm editing
Oh,
a video, my vasectomy review video. I'm editing it and it's tough. And
you
every time I
had
do
a
it, I learn a little more.
vasectomy?
I did in October and it went bad. I ended up back in the hospital 2 times after that.
Why? See, that's the thing is, why the fuck would you get a vasectomy? That's a terrible decision. Like, you poor thing. Why would you do that to yourself?
So, I was at work one day and a guy I work with said that he had a vasectomy and I talked to him about it. He said the same thing everybody always says, like, oh, it was no big deal. I was sore for a couple of days, went back to work after the weekend was over. And I was just like, did your insurance cover that? And he goes, yeah. I was like, what? Insurance will cover a vasectomy? No way. And I just didn't want my wife to be on birth control anymore because it fucks with her. I
So
know
you let the
I
feminists get to you.
no, I just love my wife.
Like I said, I'm a trans woman. I go on estrogen every day. It's basically birth control. It's basically the same thing. So what? It's much better. Here's the thing. Here's my justification. It's much better to take a pill, right, that you can go off of any time, than to have an actual surgery that fucks you up and could potentially make you infertile. Like, oh, 90 something percent don't go infertile. Okay, but there's a decent chance you do become infertile and you can't recover it. Or if you like wait long enough, it's just so much easier to take a pill. Is it sexist that women have to do it? Don't care. It just makes more sense and it's less harmful. This push to make men get vasectomies or to encourage it or to say that you don't support women if you don't,
No,
I just
this was
have a
just an
huge fucking
internal.
problem with
It
it.
was just an internal decision that I made. I don't want to have any more kids. My wife doesn't want to get pregnant, and I know that it like she's been a lot better. It's affected her mental health negatively, and it's just always sort of been the thing like where it's like yeah, it sucks, but there's like really nothing we can do about it. And my thought process was I can do something one time, and that totally clears up a problem for her because I think of my relationship. As like we're all a team. So there's my wife, my girlfriend, and myself, and we're all a team. If something bad is happening to
Wait.
one of us, it's like all of us like we all have a problem. Yeah.
Did you say your wife, your girlfriend, and yourself? Like you have a
Yeah.
wife and a girlfriend?
Yeah, they just went to bed 20 minutes ago. They waved to me on their way to bed.
What the actual fuck?
Are you not cool with polyamory?
No, it's literally just
Oh,
cheating. But it's
wait.
consent. I don't care. Like
What do you
it
mean it's
literally
cheating?
is cheating.
In this instance, we're both I think cheating implies that you're doing something dishonest. That's why
I
it's
don't
called cheating.
it's not the dishonesty to me. It's the fact that you're like multiple people at the same time. I That's the thing. I think consent is extremely overrated. I think the idea that well someone said that it's okay, so it's fine is stupid. I think that a person's moral action doesn't rely on if the person thinks it's okay. I think the moral action relies on is the action moral or is it justified? Just because someone is okay with something shitty happening to them or someone's okay with someone being treated in an unfair way doesn't make that action any less or better. It makes like more morally justified to certain people or they feel better about themselves, but it's like and like for I know this
So
is an
wait,
extreme example. I'm
I
sorry.
guess I'm just really curious. Where is the rule that people have one partner come from?
Like what do you mean? You have to
So
spend
the idea here is that for me is that I don't believe that just because people think that monogamy is like the correct thing means anything to me. These rules are made up by people that aren't even alive anymore, and I have no responsibility to adhere to these rules that I didn't consent to. Like I don't agree with them. I think that they're stupid. And I think that it goes against my nature. So why would I ascribe to this ideology that I don't identify with whatsoever? And neither does my
well, can I
wife. Yeah.
Well, do you support like those Mormon families where the man has like six fucking wives? It's like
So
that. Is that fine to you?
that's
Like, or what's the
polygamy.
difference?
So that's
What's the
polygamy.
difference?
Well, hang on. I'm trying to say. So that's polygamy, and I don't inherently disagree with it. I think a lot of times in the Mormon situations, I see and hear things that are really fucked up that I strongly disagree with, and it gives people like me a bad name, even though I'm not doing the same thing. But also, I'm not necessarily opposed to polygamy either. Like, uh, if I if like if for example if my wife myself and my girlfriend like whenever down the road we are like this is just a forever thing, obviously it wouldn't be illegal, but like a spiritual union or whatever wouldn't be off the table in my book.
Well, I mean, like I said, I don't have an issue with like religious stuff. I have an issue with stuff that I think is like my. Here's my thing. I
Wait,
think what's it?
I
Well, I
just want to
think
get.
it.
Oh, go ahead and then I'll ask my question.
Well, no, tell me.
So you said that's just cheating. What makes cheating bad?
So the idea is that in a relationship, you're supposed to put all of your love and all of your emotion and care into one
I
person.
will.
And what makes a relationship beautiful and special is that it's unique. It's a unique bond between two people. You're putting all of your love and all of your care into this one special person. Once you start divvying out the love, once you start being like, oh, I like this person, I also like this person too, you're not really, you can't invest the same amount of energy and time into like multiple people. It's not as exclusive, it's not as special. The exclusivity and the special bondness and the closeness of two people, like once it becomes a party, it's very different from having that individual one-on-one bond, that one connection that nobody else can share. Like it's hard to like put into words,
I
but
think I
it's
understand what you're
certainly not just a
saying,
thing. Like it's
but
not just a thing like a bunch of old white people made like fucking hundreds of years ago. There, I think there's actual like scientifically reasons why it's important.
okay. Then so I also have a kid. So did I have a kid? When I have a kid, I have less time for my wife. I have less time for like everything else because of my kid. Does having a kid sully my relationship too?
Well, the kind of relationship that you have with a kid is very different from like this should be obvious, right?
Well,
When you have a
I'm talking
kid,
about because of the time. You said I don't have as much time to invest in the relationship because there's another person. So I'm
well, no,
introducing another
what I'm
person in.
saying, the kind what I'm saying is like an emotional love and bond. It's not the same kind of bond between like a kid and a child and a parent as like two like lovers or like romantic bonds. When it's a romantic bond, right? Together you take care of that child, but that child, do I even have to say that like
Well,
caring for a child is a lot
I
different than
I
like
know that it's different.
being in a relationship?
I was using the child as an example to address the part where you said the time. You don't have as much time. So I am saying if
Well,
your argument about there being not enough time or as much time is
well, that was
valid,
one of the
then it
things
should
I
also
said.
be yeah. So I know I was going point by point.
What I'm saying is that your love and your energy isn't being all put into one person. You're essentially like your emotional caring. Like as soon as like the person that you love is going around and like going with other people, it ruins anything special that it has with it, right? Because the person you like is now just like fucking a bunch of other people. Now they're just like oh loving a bunch of other people. It's like I don't know whatever the polyamorous open relationship, but as soon as it becomes a thing where it's like oh I'm not exclusive to you, I'm not exclusively with you. I can go with whoever I want, or I like this person too. It's not the same, and it's not as special. It's not as
Oh, I argue that my
it's
relationship with my wife is more special because my wife and I understand. So I've said this phrase a lot before. Like my wife may not be my one and only, but she's my one that's always. She is foundational, and I know that no matter what happens, we're in fact we're proving that our bond is so strong that even other partners don't affect what we have with each other. And we've been together for 10 years, my wife and I, and we've been poly for like 5. But also, we don't lose a lot of time because, as it stands right now, the vast majority of the time that I spend with my wife and my girlfriend is spent together because they're also each other's girlfriend as well. So, like, we have dinner together a lot. Like earlier when I was setting up for the stream, I had the movie on my computer because I had to do some work. They were watching the movie and coloring, like doing like the adult coloring books together at the same time as they were watching the scary movie. I was watching it on my monitor while I was doing work stuff. Uh, we usually have dinner together. We sometimes my girlfriend takes my wife to work, or like I'll take them both to work and bring the car back. There's a lot of things that we do together that's I think is still bonding. Also, my I don't have like a limited resource for love. I so like when I got my dog, my friends were like, I think you love your dog more than you love your kid or your wife. I said I love my dog different, and
Like
every time I've been in love
yeah,
with
that's what
somebody,
I. Oh
I
my
love
god.
so like I've been married. I've had I've been married twice. I
Dude, no,
loved my
no one's
ex-wife,
arguing.
and I still do have a lot of love for her. And I love my wife and I love my girlfriend. Like I don't think that anything is I'm personally not losing out on anything, and I know that my wife isn't losing out on anything. And if she had any issues, if she needed something from me and she wasn't getting it, she knows that she can come and talk to me, and I can give her whatever she needs.
First of all, nobody, not a single person on this planet, is ever going to argue, oh, you have a dog, must be taking away from your fucking spouse. But it's like the idea that, like, oh, well, our bond is strengthened because I'm openly cheating on this other person and we're all cheating on each other with each other because we're all just like in the giant big relationship. Like, that's stupid. That's not how any of that shit works. It's
What makes
special
monogamy the
because it's
default?
individual people.
I think you're expressing an idea that somebody has that there's really no basis for, and you're implying that this is like the absolute correct way that things must be without any real
Yeah, it
justification
is
for it.
based. I don't care. Some societies and some cultures and some standards are better than others. And I think this other shit is degenerate as fuck. That's my genuine view.
Um, but you know
Like,
that
sorry, like, I think you're a cool person. I just don't agree with the lifestyle.
sure, but like monogamy's only been the norm for like the past 1,000 years. Like so it stands to reason that humans are not inherently monogamous.
I don't know any studies about like in the wild and stuff,
Hmm.
but I would like, animals and stuff, like when you like have pets and stuff, or when you have like animals in the wild, I'm pretty sure like animals have their own like family units of like one mother and one father. Am I
Um,
wrong about this? Or do animals have a bunch of like packs where it's just, oh, I have like five mothers and six fathers? I don't think that
I don't
happens
think
in
they
nature.
I don't think that they have a like an identity towards that kind of thing, but 90% of animals are like polyamorous. Almost all animals are non-monogamous. Yeah.
What do you mean by polyamorous? And do you have research for this? Like, what do you mean by this?
Sure, I can link you an article that shows that animals don't like most animals don't mate for life.
Well, okay, first of all, when I say mate for life, you can go from one partner to a different partner, but you don't have multiple partners
Well,
at the same
animals don't have
time.
these kinds of social structures though, you know.
No, but like when you're talking about not mating for life, yeah, obviously humans go from one person to another person, but they don't date multiple people at the same time. Like I'm pretty sure you don't see animals being like, "Oh, this is the,
Well, animals
you
don't
know,
date.
yeah."
And
What
there's
I'm
lots of
saying is
animals that
like,
participate in like basically animal orgies too.
oh my God. Yeah.
Especially like chimps. They like they fuck each other all the time. Like they don't like stick with just one. They just fuck whoever all the time. And they do all the stuff.
Oh my God.
I also think that not only do I think that monogamy is inherently a product of patriarchy, I also,
Wow.
uh, well, yeah, when it came about, women were basically were literally property. Um, but also,
So
like,
not
why do
only
you
is
think that it's so prevalent that people cheat on their partners in monogamous relationships? It seems like there's something there that we just sort of pretend isn't a part of our nature, which is very obviously, glaringly a part of our nature that we're just trying to like resist all the time. Like people talk about cheating like there's a temptation. The temptation is there because there's something in you that says that like this isn't how I'm supposed to be.
So first of all, I don't have that low of a view of people in relationships. I know pretty
Well, like
much
this is
most of the people I know have been in relationships. They've been married their whole life for like many, many decades, and they've been with one person and they've been happy. So this idea that like all humans are just like, we can't stand being in one relationship. We have to cheat. I think that's a very bad view of humanity, and I don't like to view people that way. Like obviously, there's people who divorce, and divorce rates are increasing, over time. But I think there's like a multitude of factors. I don't think it's because we want to have five partners at the same time or whatever the fuck. I think it's for what one reason or another. Maybe that specific relationship isn't working out. It's not that the standard of monogamy is oppressive and we need to change it. It's no, maybe the person that you're with isn't the right person and you don't know how to end that relationship and you're looking for a way out without officially ending it. And I think that's the issue that a lot of people have. I don't think the issue is, oh, well, you should just be able to date multiple people at the same time. Like that's not.
what.
And
So you say that the reason is because it takes something away, but you haven't experienced it, and I can tell you from firsthand experience. And I also I'm not so active with it anymore, but I used to have a fairly popular blog about polyamory where a lot of people talk to me. Most people in polyamorous relationships do feel really happy and fulfilled, especially when people around them are accepting of it. I guess I don't understand how I can tell you that like my wife is happy, I'm happy, our girlfriend's happy, we're all really happy. I don't
I'm
understand how you
not
can
saying
tell.
that I don't. I'm not saying that I don't believe you.
Well, no, what I'm saying is that you're saying that like something there's like the implication here is that something is disordered, something is
Yeah,
wrong.
well,
But
I absolutely agree, and I absolutely believe it's disorder and wrong.
yeah, I'm saying
Absolutely.
based like what is your basis for saying that? When I can tell
Well,
you that
first,
uh like what do you think do you think that my wife doesn't want this or that my girlfriend doesn't want this?
I'm not saying that they don't want it. I'm not saying that.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah,
I'm not
I know
even.
I'm just trying to understand. Look, I'm not I understand that you're telling me like you don't like something about my lifestyle, and a lot of people like will usually to like try to like lash out and hurt you or anything. I'm genuinely just trying to understand you.
Look,
I
no
ask a
hate
lot of
towards you.
questions to
I just,
understand.
I just, I just don't think it's normal. I don't think it should be normalized. I think it's an extremely harmful thing that we need to like disavow
Wait, you might want to
as
be
much as
careful.
we can.
We don't base things on how good or bad they are based on how normal they are. You would not like that at all.
Why? I think that I'm just a woman and being a woman is a normal thing. So the way I am, here's the thing. With traditional gender roles, I I fit them, right? I'm just a traditional woman who wants to exist in traditional cis heteronormative patriarchal society. I like that. I don't want to change the system around me. I just want to be a woman in our current system. And that's what I fucking hate about these leftists. They take my existence and then assume that I want to fucking dismantle the system because I'm a trans woman. Like, fuck that. Like, as everything that I stand for is just wanting to keep things the way they are because I love like being a woman in the way that society is. Like, if I didn't, then why the fuck would I be trans?
But
Like,
you didn't want to. Yeah, but yeah, like you wouldn't make the same argument if you lived in say Ukraine though. You would say you want to change the system. You
like
told me earlier you
changes.
think that their system needs to be changed.
Well, if I lived in Ukraine, obviously I want like certain rights, like being able to like, like change my driver's license or birth certificate. But like in the sense of I could just be stealth, right? I could like have a surgery and just not tell anyone ever that I'm a trans woman and I could just live as a cis woman and I wouldn't need to change anything, right? So even in those like oppressive systems, if I just don't
And
tell anyone I'm
I
trans
think
and
that you
I
could. I
pass
didn't know
well
you were
enough,
trans until I saw your Twitter bio.
and
Um,
that's the
but
goal. That's what I want,
sure.
right?
Okay, but what if you couldn't pass and you did have to tell people and you would want to change the system?
See, I can understand in that perspective that it sucks and you want to tell, but it's like even if you didn't pass, you wouldn't have to necessarily change the system. You would just have to get people okay that, like, some, trans women don't pass, some people who like, and that's the thing, is there are women who exist currently who aren't like the most feminine, who, have like certain aspects, but they are still seen as women because of the way they were born biologically. It's not super duper common, but if a trans woman doesn't pass, but she's going through all the efforts to be seen as traditionally feminine within society, and she conforms as much as she can to society, then I think that that's good enough. And it's like, yeah, there a little bit of changing, sure, but you really don't need to change that much. And I don't think it's like a systemic change. It's a very slight change. And
Why
I
should
think
I?
that most, I should do what?
Why should So I'm a person that believes that you shouldn't make people do something that they don't want to do. For the most part, unless they're hurting somebody. And I guess I don't understand why I should have to like be untrue to who I am as a person because other people don't like to do what I do.
So first of all, I just want to say a few things. First of all, I'm not a fan of forcing people to do anything, right? Like, I'm not going to go to you and say, I demand that you end your relationship because of me. Like, that's stupid, right?
Yeah.
What I do believe in is social shaming, social pressure, and a sense of a society that says this isn't okay and we shouldn't allow this. Like, I believe that in society we need to stand firm and stand clear that there are certain ways of life that aren't accepted and shouldn't be accepted. That's not to say that we should like not allow people to do. I think people should be allowed to do things, but I also think that we should heavily discourage people from ever wanting to choose to take those life paths. But there's
I
something else I was going to say, but I don't remember.
I think that if I was going to heavily discourage somebody from doing something, I would label it as bad, but I would also have to demonstrate some harm.
But that's the thing. It's like I don't think that's harm. I think it's just this is like the normal life path. This is what we do. And if you want to do it, fine, but we're gonna have some feelings about it. I don't believe in this libertarian bullshit. I'm very anti-libertarian. I have some people who are like, "Oh, are you a libertarian?" No, I don't believe in this stupid consent. Oh, I can do whatever I want because I just can. It's like I don't believe in fucking bodily autonomy and shit. I think it's stupid and overrated. Like I said before, it's like just because you can do it or you want to do it, it doesn't hurt anybody else. Like it's stupid. Like someone's gonna self harm. Oh, it's fine. They're not hurting anybody else. Somebody's gonna, engage in behavior like drugs and shit that's just gonna tear their life apart. Like I care about that. I want to stop that person from doing the thing that harms them, get in their way for the greater good of society. Like I don't care if it's what you want to do. It's hurting you. It's hurting society. It's causing it's causing rippling effects. For instance, just having drugs in the street. Everyone says, "Oh, it's drunk driving." Just having drugs in the streets is going to create drunk driving as a result, right? No matter all the measures you can do, simply having alcohol there is going to lead to that. So just allowing people to drink, allowing people to smoke or do drugs isn't this neutral whatever thing. It does cause harm on other people. It's not,
Wait, wait,
oh,
wait, wait, wait.
it
Drugs and
does hurt other
polyamory are
people.
vastly doing
Well, no, I know,
drugs
I
at
know.
least is harming the user.
No, I agree.
Nobody
I
in
agree.
the polyamorous nobody in my polycule is being harmed by virtue of the relationship existing.
But here's the thing. I agree. I
We have more
agree with
people
you
to
in
love
that
and support us.
here's where I have the issue. In your case, the harm is that if enough people like you exist, it
Uh-huh.
threatens to tear down the systems in place and our structures of how we run society, how we run families, and our structures. And I like the structures that we have, and I very much want to protect them. But people like you showing these examples and being like, oh, well, I can be, like this and be happy, it might toxin some other people into wanting to do those degenerate actions. And I think it's a very important social thing that we prevent that from ever happening, which is why the social shunning, the shaming, the preventing of these certain lifestyles from being encouraged or promoted.
This sounds
Not that they should be
exactly
allowed.
like the arguments against gay people in the United States that I heard growing up.
Well, I can understand that because I think it is the same arguments. I'm not
So
denying this.
so people shouldn't be gay either then.
Um, I don't
And
know.
the same goes for
I don't
people
know.
being trans as well. These are the same arguments that people make. Like,
Well,
why can't you just act like everybody else? You're threatening the structures that exist. Like, look at all the stress and problems it's causing. People are like up in arms. People are, like like people who say things like, "Well, I can't even say he or she without like because the trans people are like ruining the way that I use language." And like, I think all that's bullshit too.
well,
But these are the arguments.
that's like the neo pronoun like kind of stuff. Like I said,
No, no, not
I
neo
think
pronouns. Just people like. Well, I don't know if any like. What if I say he and like it turns out that this is a trans person who just chooses not
but
to change their appearance? Then like they're
But
like
that's I'm
fucking
against
with my
that
way of
shit
life.
too. You don't understand. I'm a trans medicalist. In order to actually be trans, you have to actually fucking make an effort to try to pass and shit. But if you're that's the thing. If you're trans, right, and you're fucking having if you have long hair, you're wearing makeup, and someone still misgenders you, that's the issue with the person that misgenders. Like, there's no way you should ever look at a person who has long hair, is wearing makeup, and clearly is signaling to the world that that's a woman.
Okay,
There's
I
no
guess
way that any reasonable person could look at that and think that they're a man. And I think the reason why is only because of fucking like drag queens, femboys. That's the real fucking harm,
I think
in my opinion.
I'm gonna reel it back. I don't really want to argue how the case is similar to like trans people because you're trans and I don't really feel comfortable like making this argument this way because I think that the gay argument works just fine.
Yeah, I
Um,
probably made you very uncomfortable with what I said about your relationship. I get it. Like, you
oh,
can
I'm
defend me.
no, I'm bulletproof. I was married to an alcoholic before. You can't hurt my feelings, Rose. I
I
am
mean,
hardened.
I'm not intending to, but
No,
I
no, no. I
understand
know.
you
I
were.
is more or less making a joke there, but like, so
Okay.
do you think that people shouldn't be gay? They shouldn't openly be gay too?
So I have issues with gay acceptance. And my issue isn't that I hate gay people. My issue isn't that like I'm against those people existing. I understand that they do exist. And I think a lot of it is biological. It's stuff that they can't help, like pedophilia. I think maybe there's biological elements to that. But it also differs from the norm. It differs from the standard in society. And I see, especially, we're how many years into this movement where we're seeing people, go into society with everybody else. And it's not just keeping it themselves, it's trying to convince everyone else. Like, oh, being a bisexual is cool, or I hate men. Let's normalize hating men on TikTok.
But
And
wait,
oh, what's the solution? Date a woman. Like, and you just see all these things where it's not even that it's just normalized, it's just being pushed onto people. And it's just weird and bizarre. And it threatens to overturn the systems in power. I
wait.
don't
I
care
want
if
to
an
keep the
individual
similarities
person
though.
wants to make a life choice.
I
I
want to
care
keep within
about
the
the
frame of the
systems in
similarities that
power.
you compared because like I was just talking about I don't remember what we were talking about but I just like said it like my wife my girlfriend and I is part of like just what I was talking about. I wasn't endorsing polyamory. I wasn't saying like hey people should be poly and that's when you were like oh I don't like this. It was just its existence. So I feel like the same standard has to be met for gay people
Hmm.
because
I mean,
now I'm not talking about gay people who try to convert people to being gay. I'm not talking about gay people who are like cisphobic, for lack of a better term. None of that stuff. I'm just saying like I just exist. I was just so when I first became poly, I didn't really want to say anything to anybody about it because I just didn't want to like rock the boat. And then I was like, okay, I'll say something
understandable.
about it, but like I don't want to like act like it's cool. Like and I fucking love it. I think it is super cool that my wife and I have a kind of bond like this. That's this iron-proof and ironclad. But I don't promote it. If there's a conversation and we want to talk about like the nitty-gritty of it, I might say some things that are like why I don't like monogamy. But I'm like out here like preaching against monogamy. I'm not like trying to talk people out of their monogamous views. I don't think it's for everybody. I don't think it's for most people. But I also think it's just because there's an indoctrination that says people
Well,
should be monogamous.
here's
Just
here's
like
my
the same with sexuality.
sorry.
I just say
I
just the
think my
same thing with you
counter.
say people should be like the default is cis straight, and
Okay.
I think that's
Well,
weird too.
I think it is the default, but whatever. I think how liberals say that everything is political, right? I
Uh,
think that there's a point to be made here, right? Just
uh,
because you don't go out of your way to promote it, right? You being seen as an example of, oh, this exists, it's normalized, right? Even if that's not your intention, it is being viewed that way to other people. And I can say the same about me being trans, right? Now, I would argue that me being trans, right? I'm not actively trying to, I mean, maybe I am trying to promote it if I'm being fully honest, right? Because I think being trans is like just totally normal. I want to promote that it's normal. But me just existing and being a normal
Definitionally, it's
person,
not normal. If being
in the
trans is
sense,
normal, it defies what like any definition of what I understand normal to mean.
well,
I think it's valid and it's
I
totally
think being
fine.
born in the wrong body is not normal. But I think the problem is that I was born with a female brain in the wrong body. And I
Yeah,
think
it's
the
not
issue is
normal.
the body and not the brain. So it'd be treated in the same way that we treat like, people with like other deformities and stuff. We just fix them. And then, I get fixed and I just become a normal woman. I don't become like weird. I don't become outside. You can't make a gay person conform into cis straight society. You can't do it. It's not possible. Whereas being trans can conform. And that's why it's so different when we have
It can kind of
fundamentally different
conform.
goals and values.
Well, we still get issues
You,
that come up, even when this happens too. There's still like things that people argue for it. But also, too, you are demanding something. You're demanding surgery.
um, so with the
That if
case of
you just
surgery,
didn't break the norms, you would just be like, okay, I guess I'm just going to deal with having the wrong body.
so here's the thing with surgery. I think you can take multiple paths, and the multiple paths are this. Surgery can be very expensive for some people. It can also have a lot of like risks and complications. It can be dangerous. I can understand and sympathize with people who want the surgery but can't get it because they're terrified that they're going to like, have really bad complications or that they just can't afford it. Like that's understandable,
Well,
right?
I'm saying that
And
the
that
act of simply attempting, desiring, wanting the surgery, this is all playing into something that is against the societal norm. Most people do not get gender surgery at all, like the
I understand.
vast majority.
But
And I would say that the amount of like waves that have been caused, the amount of harm that has caused to trans people specifically, but also to just like there's been a lot more aggressive discourse in the last couple of years because trans rights
yeah.
and trans rights activists. So I would say
Well,
this rocks the boat way, way harder than polyamory does, and I'm all here for it. I think that trans people are kicking ass as
no.
far as like getting their rights. I have
I
no issue with it whatsoever. But if we're saying that like we don't want like polyamory is not good because it causes negative effects on society, I would say that like if I've committed a misdemeanor, you've committed like a high level felony.
Well, I disagree with you, and I disagree because I have examples to back it up that being trans in itself doesn't necessarily have to go against society. And I'll use an example of Iran, for instance, right? In Iran, anyone who conforms or is gay or has any sort of gender nonconformity is basically forced to get a gender reassignment surgery, and then is basically, seen as like normal, like the sex that they, transition to or get the surgery towards, right? So in the country, as extreme and as anti-LGBT as that, they see being trans or having that surgery as the
Um,
way
just to
to
be
make
clear,
that person
Iran's
become
forcing
normal.
gay men to have gender transition surgery to make them
Yeah.
straight. They're not supportive of trans people. They are homophobic as fuck and saying if you're gonna fuck guys, we're gonna make you be a woman.
Well, that's the point I'm saying in the sense that being trans or transitioning or it can conform to cis society even in the most extreme cases. They can clearly still see that that is still much more conforming and much more normal
No, no, I
than the
think that this is a
alternative.
punishment for being gay. This isn't about acceptance. This is about
Well,
hate. This saying if you're gonna be gay, we're gonna
it's
cut
about
your dick off.
conformity. It's not that they want to punish, they want to conform. They want there to be straight people.
This
And
isn't
their solution to make them straight is to do that. And that's
this
how you make them more normal.
this isn't an opt-in thing. They're saying if you're gay,
I
we're gonna
understand.
cut your dick off.
And I'm not
And
saying
I
that I
think it's a
agree with
way
it. I'm just
to
using it as an example of how being trans can fit into that conformity. And how it's not this, and that's what I fucking hate.
but
People acting like
that's not what's happening though.
the
It's
I'm just I'm
they're not making trans people conform. They're making gay men who are not trans
I know.
get their genitals removed because they hate gay people so much. This isn't about helping trans people conform at all.
I know it's not. What I'm saying is that it's how they see it. But anyway, my point is,
That
I'm
is
just
how
sick
they
of
see it.
people.
It's a It's a
I
disincentive to be gay, not in the
I'm
acceptance of
just
trans
sick.
people.
I am sick and tired of these people who claim to be, woke or accepting or whatever. Basically, sitting here and telling me that my identity somehow is just like, this revolting thing that like rocks the societal norm. My existence does not, change up or shake up society in any way. I don't go against the norms. I just exist as a normal fucking woman. I live my everyday life. Nobody knows that I'm trans. They just see me as a normal woman, and my existence is just very typical and very standard. So for someone to act like I'm subverting the norms in any fucking way is bizarre to me. I
Well,
have a bigger
like,
incentive than anybody to keep the norms the same because I've fought so many fucking years of my life to fit in these norms and these societies, and now everyone wants to take away the shit that I've spent so many years fighting for, and I won't stand for it.
well, I'm
I
not
want
trying to
to
take
keep
away
traditional
anything.
femininity and traditional masculinity. I want to keep it the way it was for the last fucking 60 fucking years, and let's keep it. And the fact that there's so many people that want to change it and want to get rid of it is fucking terrifying to me.
What's
And I won't
special about
stand
the
for
last
it.
60 years?
I mean, like the 1950s, that we had the nuclear family, the way that women were at home being housewives while the men were
Yeah, I'm
doing
saying
all the
like
work, the fact that
what
one
about this like little
households
chunk
were
of time
affordable.
makes it like the ideal chunk of time? Like, cuz like we could just go further back and then that's gone. There's just this really small section of like human history that you're honing in on saying this is right. But I'm saying like why?
I think, for one, this is the period of American exceptionalism. I think this is the period where we had a bigger stake. Like the average American had more that they owned. They were happier. I mean, it obviously there's individual cases. I can't know, like, I don't know every single aspect of every single year or whatever, right? Like, obviously, there were many race relations or gender relations that like weren't like perfect that at that time, which is why if we ever revive these concepts, we'd have to revive them in their own modern ways so that we don't make the same mistakes from the past. So there is a way to do this that is more empathetic to, the decades of research and evolution of these kind of relationships. But I think there is something to be had there that, we have like men in certain positions, women in certain positions, like biologically speaking. Why is the reason that all these different animals have two sexes and don't reproduce asexually? It's because in order to reproduce, you need to have two separate, gene pools, and you need to have like men and women doing different things, right? Like
Well,
women
some things
are
do reproduce
struct.
asexually.
Yeah, well, it's just not common in nature, but
Well,
it does
yeah, that's what
happen
I'm
sometimes.
that yeah, but like if we're going back to being common in nature, like transgenderism would be like one of the highest crimes. It's like a super small percentage.
So I get what you're
And
saying.
actually, polyamory is a lot more prevalent than you might think.
I think being trans is like having a third arm. It's a freak nature that happens sometimes, and it's an unfortunate thing that can
Well,
happen, but it's
me being
also something that can
polyamorous
be
is
fixed.
like having a second partner. Like the only
Yeah,
difference
and I
between
think
me and anybody else is that when I go home, I'm spending time with two women instead of one, and when I go to bed, I sleep next to two women instead of one. That's it.
I the thing with me is that
Well, and
I
I have
can
more
be
support.
conformed and I can be changed into fitting the norm, whereas polyamory can never fit and be part of the norm. So your whole existence, your whole reason, you have a big incentive to fight against the norm. You have,
But I
big
don't.
stakes at the table to try to change the way that things are accepted to make your things more accepted than they are. Whereas I want to keep things the way that they are
You are one of the
because I
first
can
people
fit
that has
into that.
ever. I've known two people in my entire life that were like, "Whoa, that's wrong." I would say that your take is like the like by a landslide the minority position on polyamory. Most people are extremely accepting of it.
I don't know. I mean, I've never like talked about this to
Oh wait, you're
anybody,
the third. You're the third person actually.
but I'd be surprised if like people were fine with it.
Well, I mean, I've been openly poly for 5 years, and you're only the third person. Granted, you have the most extreme opposition to it, but you're only the third person that was like openly opposed to it, and
Well,
other
the reason
people are mostly just like, "Oh, whatever works for you."
well, the reason that's the thing. The reason I have such a strong opinion about it is because I see the bigger picture. I see where this is heading in 10, 15, 20 years. I see the path that we're heading down, and I want to do everything in my power to stop it. because I think it's dangerous. And I think, and it's not that you specifically are being dangerous. That's not what I'm saying. I think I see a trend. I see the path that we're going down. And if nothing is stopped, it's just going to keep going down. And you could say slippery slope, but it's like when gay acceptance happened and then all this other shit happened that all the conservatives were right about and shit. I think
Wait, what were they right about?
society, they were right that if we allow this to happen, that we're going to allow all this other stuff. And looking at Twitter, looking at the discourse, less than a decade, gay marriage was only legalized in the United States in 2015.
Uh-huh.
Ever since then, so much has happened in like terms of acceptance, in terms of like the slippery slope wasn't a fallacy in this case. It
could have
what
had
happened.
nothing to do with. Well, sure, the Overton window was shifted to where we're not going to be unaccepting of gay people, and I think that part of that slippery slope is that we also have now accepted trans people as well. I don't
No,
think
and
that trans
I would
acceptance
agree.
could have ever happened before gay acceptance. Do you agree?
I think that there is a timeline where it could have. I think that due to certain, political factors in the United States, I think for whatever reason, people are more okay with homosexuality
Yeah.
because it doesn't affect them personally, right? Like if someone's gay in their own house, the common accepted idea that I don't personally agree with is, oh, they're doing stuff in their bedroom, doesn't affect me, right? But when someone's trans, when someone like, changes their gender and shit, a lot of like people in America have this view that it's like, oh, well, now they're coming for my kids. Now I'm coming for my bathrooms. Now I'm being affected by this shit. And that's the problem I see. And
There
that's
there is an undeniable fact that the more trans people there are, the more people are going to end up in the bathroom with somebody that they feel uncomfortable with. I don't give a shit if somebody feels uncomfortable in that scenario, really. But like, it's
based.
true.
Yeah, like I said, I have no sympathy for like a feminist who's like, oh, I'm scared. I'm scared that like this trans woman's in this bathroom. Oh, you're traumatized because someone raped you and now you're gonna like put that on the trans woman. Like, fuck that. I don't care. Oh, you're scared because like a trans woman is like tall and looks kind of masculine. Okay, well, I don't care because some fucking man raped you. Like, who cares? Like, that's not the trans woman's fault. And so for you to fucking be scared of the trans woman, that's your internalized
Are you saying
transphobia.
women or woman
That's
here?
your I guess like I don't know.
Well, you're not saying like
Just
you're scared of the person who raped you, right? And we don't care. It's
no,
not what you're saying,
what
right?
I'm saying is imagine like a woman who's like traumatized because she was raped earlier in her life, right? And
Mm-hmm.
now she's scared of like a trans woman because she has like certain features that, she doesn't pass
Yeah.
or whatever.
Right.
It's like
I can understand and respect the fact that you have that trauma, but
that's
that doesn't mean we're going to
bigotry.
change the rules,
Yeah, I don't care
and
that you have
make other
trauma.
people
You are a
suffer.
bigot, and now you're just being bigoted towards trans women because you're bigotry, right? It's the same way. It's like just because someone like, oh no, some black kid bullied you in school, does that mean that you're okay to like fucking be racist to other black people because you had a
Sure,
bad experience one time?
I
Or
understand
also,
that.
it's not even the same. It's like trans women are so different from fucking cis men, so it's not even that. It's worse than that. It's like, but then people act like, oh, you're a monster if you're not sympathetic to like there's no, they're bigots. Why should I care?
Um,
Like,
well, I think it's good to have empathy for everybody, but I just want to like let me just try to hone in on this. Can you give me a single negative point if we had a polyamorous society? Instead of like, let's say tomorrow it was the norm that you don't just have one partner. What bad is going to happen?
so what bad would happen if suddenly, so you're saying that like there's not really straight couples or straight couples are like the minority now?
What? No, I'm saying what would be bad if the majority of people in the United States were understanding of and accepting of and participated in polyamory. This was the norm. How does society get worse? Give
So
me
first
an
of
example.
all, the psychology and the reasons why that we date in like pairs of two, all of that would go down the window. Like I said,
Okay,
I'm not
but
a
you're not telling me
scientist.
why
I
that's
don't have
good.
specific studies,
Yeah, but well,
but
I'm saying you have a problem with it. You have a
there
problem
is a
with it.
science there is a scientific reason why the vast majority of humans are a certain way, and you would see society start to shut
No,
down
I don't. I think
because
it's
of the
indoctrination.
relationships. What?
I think that the reason why people are monogamous is because they're indoctrinated into the idea of monogamy. And like it's indisputable that they are. Whether it's good or bad, you can argue that. But like people are, all the media, everything that people talk about is always predicated on monogamy. But that's
Oh,
just what
what would
people are
happen?
talked to about. So if
Well,
it got
the reason
switched, people wouldn't. They've already changed now. Like
Western society, as we know it, would not be the same. It would essentially turn into something that it's not, and all of our cultural values would, a lot of the cultural values would be lost in the process.
like what?
And all of like what we value in healthy relationships, in monogamy, and making sure that two people have an exclusive bond that is lost. A lot of the emotions and the being close to somebody exclusively, now that it's just like you can have whatever you want or whatever, a lot of that is just being lost now that it's like it's not exclusive anymore. I don't know how to convey that to
You
you.
haven't told me
I
why
don't know how.
exclusivity is good. If anything, I would see this as a limiting factor. You're saying that people should limit themselves because
But
of, but I don't know what.
I mean, it's also a limiting factor to not just be able to rape everyone you want. It's in our human nature to like fucking like
No, no,
a
I'm
lot
saying,
of men
yeah,
would like to
right.
rape
I
people.
agree. It
I
is,
feel I see this in the same way, right?
yeah, I would say that
It's in the
that
nature to
argument,
fuck as many people as you want, but that's not a good thing to do.
sure,
It's
but you
not a
haven't given me a
healthy thing to
reason
do.
not to. All of your things
Is
that you said
there
would be negative is you're just saying that people wouldn't be monogamous. But
is
this is the
there
premise. What makes it bad?
is there a reason why people shouldn't just rape everybody? I mean, that's natural.
Yes.
That's in nature, right? So
Yeah, there is a
let's
reason why
just
people
rape a
shouldn't.
bunch of people, and that's
Okay,
totally
right,
fine.
because of the harm that happens from it, and you haven't demonstrated any harm that happens from polyamory. The only harm that you've given me is that people aren't monogamous. You're just saying the harm is polyamory. I'm saying like
Well, the
what
harm,
is
first of all, I don't, like I said, I don't see it in the same type of way. It's just, oh, someone isn't directly harmed. I think the harm is harder to spot. It's much more in societal and systemic ways. It's not something you can see in an individualistic level. It's something you can see in a societal level. It's something that
yeah, I'm
once a
asking you
certain
what does
number
that
of
look like?
people,
Yeah,
like I
and
said,
I'm saying
I don't
80% of
have
them tomorrow
studies
are.
on me.
Okay, but you feel
I don't,
very strongly about this, and I'm trying to figure out where this
yeah,
feeling comes from. So everybody tomorrow, except for
it
you, is now
comes,
polyamorous. What's going to happen next? When
it
does the
goes
shoe drop?
without
What does it look
it
like?
it goes without saying that when you make a major change like this, how relationships work, that the way that relationships form and the way that society, it would have such riveting effects in ways that I think people can't even fully begin to comprehend, and that you wouldn't even realize the full extent of what is lost until you're fully there. I don't know
Okay,
how to
yeah, but
say this.
what is
Once you
lost? Yeah, I'm asking what is
deconstruct a
lost.
society. A lot of the values in Western culture and a lot of society, a lot of everything that we fought for, a lot of everything that people cherish, people love, a lot of the things that keep
I
people
can't think of a
healthy,
single one. I'm asking you for one.
because it's hard to define. I mean, I don't know how to say it. It's
But
like, how do
you're
you
saying
define
like all
love?
of these
How do
values.
you
Well, no.
define
So wait. You're saying all of these values, but you can't name a single one. Like if I was gonna say like there's a multitude of reasons why you shouldn't rape, I could name at least one. It hurts the person that you're raping. I could name a bunch.
Oh,
Um,
I don't think, if someone asked me what's wrong with rape, I don't think I could give a reason. I really don't.
can you
Like,
give a reason
what
why
reason?
anything is wrong? Why is
I
murder
think with
wrong?
some things, you're taking away an innocent person's life and now they're not able to exist. Like murder, I feel very strongly about, way more strongly than most things. So,
Sure.
like, murder is much easier to define. Like, some things are just harder to.
I can
For
say what I think
think
is
about
lost in monogamy.
can I say, first of all, but then that's the thing, is like, I feel like maybe part of you just thinks that monogamy is like inferior. Maybe I'm wrong, but like, think about it this way: the what is the woman question, right? Matt Walsh thinks that he's stumping everybody by being, what is a woman? And they're like, well, actually, it's more complicated than simply adult human female. And the conservatives think they're so smart
I'm
and
not
think that they're
asking you to
so,
define
oh,
anything though. I'm
because
not
the
asking you to
answer
define a
is more
complicated thing.
complex.
You're
Well, what
saying
I'm
there's something
saying,
wrong with this thing, and I'm saying, can you tell me what happens when this thing
well,
occurs that makes it wrong? And you're just saying like, well, there's a bunch of vague, ambiguous things that actually don't mean anything.
what I'm telling you though is that the way our society forms would change drastically because of our values would change over time, and I don't know the full extent. I don't have studies, and I'd love to commit studies. I'd love to be part of the research to help see this, on what these values would do. But the point is that these values would have an effect on how, the average person views certain relationships, or how the average person, a lot would be lost in the transition. And a lot, you know, we don't know the full effect until it happens.
So I would argue
But I
that
know
the
that
things that are lost, we're better off without. Those are good. Good. I'm glad they're gone.
so then
Which
what would
things?
those be
Which
things? What things are you glad that would be gone?
Well, hold on. I want to see if you have. So like I
Tell
can
me,
list
tell
them.
me.
Wait. Yeah, I want to, but I need, in order to do that, I don't want to feed you an answer here. You got to tell me like a single thing that you think would be lost that like you're fighting for when you're saying like people should not be polyamorous. That it should be, we shouldn't encourage people to be polyamorous because this bad thing will happen. I want to know what the
I
bad thing
think
is.
people I think people would be less happier. I think people would be less satisfied. I think people would be less fulfilled. And I think it'd be like an emotionally draining society. I think it'd be a society where people just go into their instinct. I think it would be like a society. I think it would be pretty much exactly the same, probably even worse than a society where people could just rape whoever they want and it's just whatever. They just fuck whoever, it doesn't really matter.
You
The
think that
only
a world
difference
where everybody's
is
poly is the
it's a
same
world
as,
where it's consent.
wait,
The
it's
only difference is the
worst?
consent. The
Wait,
only difference is the consent. And I don't think consent is like this huge thing like other people do.
no, well, no, nobody, like, a lot of times in order to rape somebody, you gotta hurt them physically too. Most of the
Yeah, no,
time, people don't just be like, okay, I guess you can do it. I don't want you
but
to, but I'm
I'm
not gonna try to
that's the
stop
thing.
you. It's not what
I'm
usually
against
happens.
rape, but I'm not against rape because of consent. I'm against rape because it's degenerate and immoral. I'm not against rape because someone doesn't want it or whatever. I'm against rape because it goes against the standards of our society, right? It goes against a loving and caring society. It
So,
goes against what's normal, you know.
So, by that metric, we shouldn't
It
have
threatens
abolished
it.
slavery. We shouldn't have allowed
Well,
LGBTQ people to exist
oh
openly
my god.
because all these things went against society and they changed the way that we look at
Well,
things.
I think, like I said, I think raping, if you just have a bunch of people raping each other, it threatens the way that our social structures are. Because if people just
So
rape each
does
other, then
everything that I
what's.
just listed, though. And we would say that those are good, right?
Oh my God. So,
I'm just trying to understand because, like, there's no way that I believe that you think that, like, LGBTQ acceptance is bad. There's no way that I think that you think that abolishing
um,
slavery was bad, but it all does the thing that you're saying is bad in the case of polyamory. I'm just trying to remedy
when it
the
comes to
like the disconnection
slavery,
here.
you have literally people being like
Well, I know what slavery
worked to
is.
death. They're
Uh,
being like, I don't understand how you can compare
I'm
polyamory
I'm
to
not
slavery.
comparing
It's not the
polyamory.
fucking.
I'm not comparing these two things. I'm saying that you said the thing that is bad is that it'll change society like irrevocably. It'll change the way that we look at things. And I'm saying that that can't be your issue with it because when these other things happen, this
Can
happens
I?
too and you don't have an issue with those things.
The problem, first of all, our culture now is much different than culture in like the fucking 1860s or whatever when slavery was like a thing. Okay, there
Uh-huh.
are certain cultures that are better than others, and the culture where slavery existed is a inferior culture by nature. So I think, personally speaking, that our culture is something great. I think it's something that we spent many, many years perfecting, and I think it's something that's worth protecting. And I worry that the directions that people are taking are fundamentally threatening everything that makes our culture great. And we would lose a ton with all of the scary things that people are trying to turn it into.
I
So
I'm
now
not trying to
I
turn society into anything by
look, I
having
don't have
a healthy
anything else that
relationship with two women.
I don't I don't have anything else that I can say. Now, can you please explain what the good things that you want gone are? The
Well,
things that you want gone when
I think
monogamy
that
is
people,
gone.
being well, you're probably going to disagree with this, but I think that cheating goes down a lot when people don't. So, like people being dishonest and doing things that they've agreed with the person that they're with that to not do. I think that that goes down a lot. I think that people have more honest relationships. I think that people don't have to hide the way that they really feel when they're in a monogamous relationship like they do. I think that when polyamory, if polyamory becomes the norm, then I think that we see things like jealousy decrease, and I think that we see a rise in compresion, which most monogamous people don't have the pleasure of experiencing.
What's
Um,
compresion?
Compresion is the emotion that you get. It's kind of like a sense of happiness that you get when somebody is caring for somebody that you care about.
You get that in ways that are not romantic all the time?
Yeah,
Like,
but
what the fuck?
specific.
Like,
It's specifically romantic. Somebody that you're romantically attached to. So, like for instance, when I see my girlfriend do something really nice for my wife, or the particular, like my favorite one is when I see my girlfriend look at my wife in the same way that I look at her, and I can tell that when she's looking at her, she feels the same way as me. There's a particular kind of like serenity that I get, and it gives me like this confidence too. Like I know that, like, oh man, I know that if something happens to me, whether even not like up to death, but like she has somebody there to have her back. When I was in the hospital with my vasectomy, my girlfriend was there with my wife the whole time, and she didn't have to go through that alone. And I appreciate that so much because
if
I couldn't be there for her. I was in the hospital. My wife
it's
was helpless. She couldn't do anything about it. And if my girlfriend wasn't there with her, she would have been alone with it too. And it would have been magnitudes worse. I
it's
felt
literally
really
just
good knowing that
getting
that was
cucked
happening.
to sexuality. It's getting cucked to the sexuality. But anyway,
Uh,
when you say like you cheating
I don't
goes
think it's
down,
getting
that's just
cucked because
like,
I have sex with both of them and they have sex with each other.
but
Often at
when
the
it
same
when
time.
you say cheating goes down,
Yeah.
the cheating goes down by everyone cheating. The
See, I
cheating
said you
doesn't
were going
go
to disagree
away.
with this. So
Yeah,
so here's the thing. My understanding of what cheating is when you violate an agreement with your partner. That's like an established rules of the relationship. You're cheating on the rules of the relationship. So for some people, watching porn is cheating. Some people, kissing somebody is not cheating. Uh, but I don't think that what does or does not constitute cheating is consistent throughout all people, with the exception of, I think the most universal one is sleeping with somebody else when the other person doesn't allow it. There's even a word for when this isn't cheating in a monogamous relationship. People call it a hall pass. Um, and there's a reason why they don't just call it cheating because there's an explicit understanding. And the bad thing that hurts once you get cheated on isn't present here. The bad thing that hurts people when they get cheated on isn't that sex occurred. It's that this person
the
violated my
person that
trust.
you
We had an
love.
agreement, and they
No,
violated that agreement.
no, it's the what I'll tell you, as someone who would prefer monogamous relationships, the thing that hurts is that this person that was supposed to love you and care for you and be exclusive to you is not exclusive to you. And
Correct.
so it's that pain. But that's the
Correct. If you
thing,
said that they're
is that
supposed to be
all of
exclusive
that
to you, but I'm removing. But see,
all
there's a
of
removal
that
of the
is
supposed to be
still
exclusive.
present in your relationship. The
No, it's
only thing
not.
that changes is now that they know that they're not exclusive. So it's the same fucking action. The difference is, oh well, they consented to it. So
No,
like
it's
I
not
don't give a
different
fuck
because
about
I'm
the consent.
no no
It's
no
the
no 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 no
same.
no wait. It's not the same because I am not supposed to be exclusive. There's no
But what
understanding that this is the case.
the vast majority of people are hurt by cheating because this is someone that they were supposed to give their life to. They were
The
supposed
vast
to.
majority of people are hurt by cheating because the other person is supposed to be exclusive to them, and then they found out that they were not being exclusive to them. In a polyamorous relationship, you are not supposed to be exclusive to somebody. That's what it means. There's nothing biological about us that makes us monogamous. There's
But what I'm
nothing.
saying is the loss of exclusivity is what's painful in the cheating, and you're the
Correct.
idea
And
that
in
you're
polyamory, there is
advocating
no loss
for.
of that because it never
No, but
existed to
what you're
begin with.
advocating for, yeah, that's even worse. That's
Why?
even worse. That's
Why?
worse than someone cheating on you because then you don't even have the thought or the feeling that because when you're even under the illusion that someone's being exclusive to you, there's a lot of satisfaction. There's a lot of good feelings, even if it's all a lie and it becomes dismantled later. At least you have that feeling that that person was exclusive to you for that period of time. Whereas you take it all away, you don't even have that to begin with.
You
And
know,
I could even argue that it's like, there's maybe some aspects of your types of relationship that like monogamous people will never experience. There's definitely some aspects in monogamous relationships that people in polyamorous relationships will never get to experience. And
well,
that exclusivity is key.
Well, you know what I have? I have the fact that my love with my wife is more unconditional than the love that most people have in their relationships. Because most people in their relationships, the love ends if they even sometimes even desire another partner. My wife's love for
Well,
me doesn't diminish from that. So I get to know that my wife loves me so much, and she trusts me so much that she knows that no matter what's going on with other people, that my heart is still always with her. That it does not diminish my love for her or her love for me, just because we don't agree with how the rest of society seems to desire to operate.
Well,
Whereas most
here's the
people,
thing.
they don't have that. They know they go, oh man, I have these really strong desires, but I have to suppress them because if I don't, I will lose the most important love in my life. Uh, I think that fucking sucks.
If somebody cheated on me, right? I
Yeah,
wouldn't immediately. Here's the thing. If somebody cheated on me, I would be hurt and I would be, but I wouldn't suddenly stop loving the person or just, I
you'd
have a
love them
strong,
different.
I would have feelings that would probably, it would hurt and it would probably stain the relationship for sure. But I consider myself to be a forgiving person. I think the relationship can heal, but that person would have to show that they've evolved and that they wouldn't cheat in the future. But like I said, it would be permanently stained. It's definitely hard for a relationship to recover. Some people may say even impossible for a relationship to
So I
recover.
said they wouldn't
Maybe
love the
it's not.
same.
So,
My love doesn't change.
well, yeah, because you never had that to begin with.
Oh, we were monogamous for the first 5 years. I was polyamorous and just chose not to do anything about it or say anything about it. And when my wife told me that she was interested in dating women, I was like, oh my God, I am. I've never seen a greater sign that like I knew that I wanted to marry her. We were already engaged. I knew that I had found the person that would be with me for the rest of my life. But there was just like a greater sense of like if there was ever a sign that this is just absolutely perfect, it's that I don't even have to suppress like the fact that I'm polyamorous anymore. Like you are too. Like
Ugh.
groundbreaking.
I feel bad for you. I mean, it's literally just being cucked and then the whole vasectomy thing. It's just a really sad existence. It's really a
You
sad
feel bad
existence.
for me?
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
funny. In all honesty, I'd rather have somebody feel bad for me than somebody give me the. I've had people do the gross thing where they're like, where they really focus on the sex of it and they want to like high five me and stuff. I think that's really gross. I'd rather have you. I'd rather have somebody say what you just said to me than that. So there's
but what do you
that.
mean the high five thing? Like, oh yeah,
Uh,
you get to like fuck all these different people. Whoa, way to go. Like that's fucking gross.
Yeah, I agree. It's gross and it hurts my feelings a lot. I've had some people that were
I'm
important to
sorry.
me have
I
that
mean,
reaction to it, and it hurt my feelings a lot because they don't understand what it's about. Being polyamorous is not about sex. It can be, I suppose, but it's not about sex for me. Like that part's really cool, but it's not.
and
That's
if
not why I'm
listen,
about it.
and if you think that what I'm saying is gross, if you think I'm saying is really offensive and insultive, it probably is. I'm not gonna lie. So I get that. You have every right to be mad at me for this. Like I'm definitely
I'm
attacking
not
something
mad at you.
personal to you. So it's like
I
if
just want to
that's the
understand.
case, cool. Okay, and if that's the case, then cool. I just like you know, I
Yeah,
don't know.
I'm not.
I
I'm not
I
mad
have
at
my
all.
own weird positions. I strongly believe in cultural norms, and I'm very attached to the ones that we have currently, and I don't want to see them change for a
That's
variety of reasons.
I've been this is something that I've talked about on previous streams and I plan on in the future. I think that in the I'd say in the next like couple months I plan on doing more content about it. Maybe I would probably reach out to you if I get a panel together about polyamory.
Sure, I mean,
I
I'd
think
love
you'd
to.
be
I'd
a
love to do
welcome
more.
addition to the anti poly
Thank you.
party.
I would love to do more research on it because, like I said, it's a strong guttural reaction that is just inherent to me, and I'm sure there's reasons for why that I could dive more into, but it's just like, with pedophilia, it's like there's a strong, like, it's not the same, obviously. I don't want to compare the two or act like they're the same on any level because they're obviously not.
Yeah,
But
I
it's just like
understand that you're
certain
not
things
making a
just,
comparison.
yeah. Like, I don't know, incest. Like, it's just something, it's like, well, what harm does incest cause? What harm does bestiality cause? Or
Well,
whatever the fuck. It's like,
the thing about incest is that we can make a situation where it is okay, but most of the time there's something fucked up going on.
I mean,
It's
the
not
children
inherent.
get fucked up deformities.
If there is children, but
But
yeah,
that's
that's what I'm
not even the
saying.
reason.
But what I'm saying is there's nothing inherently wrong with incest, but when incest happens, there usually is something wrong. There's very rarely an instance where incest actually happens, where everything is totally above board fine. There's no weird power dynamics. There's no like worries about anything. There's usually something fucked up going on.
But even if nothing fucked up was going on, right?
Yeah.
It would still be degenerate, and it would still not be okay.
I would just say it's icky. That's it.
Yeah, like literally that's the only reason. It's gross, therefore it's bad. Why is that such a bad thing to say nowadays?
Oh,
I
because I
personally
don't
think it's
think that
gross, and
I
now it's
think you're
bad.
allowed to be gross. I think it's okay to be gross. I think it's okay to be weird. I think it's okay to be different. I think it's even okay to celebrate your differences if you want to. I think it's okay to celebrate being weird. I think that it's good to encourage people to feel good about themselves, and it's not good to make people feel like that people who have only listened to how people who base their lives based on old ideas that don't seem to stand up for anything anymore, that they just sort of exist because they used to exist. I highly, highly disvalue this. I am very
Well,
anti-traditional. I think that if something is useful in the past, it should remain useful in the future. Otherwise, it should be discarded so we can get better. I'm about
I
efficiency.
I think that homogeny is the future. I think like think about like the McDonald's and your fast food places. Why are they so popular? Why are they great? It's consistency. You know what
It's
you're getting.
convenience.
It's
And cause
well,
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
convenience,
You know,
but
whenever I go to McDonald's, I'm
it,
getting the same burger. Like 95%
yeah,
percent
exactly.
of the burger will be like the same. Sure.
It's
Um,
good food. It's mass produced. It's cheap. It works. It's
I don't know if it's
functional.
good, but I understand the point. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um,
Some people don't like McDonald's. That's totally fine. There's
I'm
fine
vegan,
diners
so I
out
eat
there.
like almost no fast food, but you wouldn't know it by
It's
looking
an
at me. I'm
analogy.
still fat,
It's an
but
analogy.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hey, I gained a shit ton of weight while I was vegetarian. I'm not
Oh,
vegetarian
I've
anymore.
lost
Long
a lot of
story.
weight. I still have
Oh, good for
like
you.
one fat person stuck to me. Thank you. I think I'm down like 65 pounds,
I'm happy
but I
for you.
think that was more
That's
from
amazing.
exercise. Thank you. It's been a journey.
Dude, I lost 85 pounds and then I gained it all back and then some because of COVID. Like I reverted back to my old habits because of lockdowns. And I'm so frustrated because I was doing so well. But then it was just like I had nothing to do. I was not going out of the house, obviously, right? And so I just ate a bunch of shitty food again because, like,
I stayed locked in my
it,
house for almost a full year. I was in the first 6% of people to get the vaccine because I knew somebody, but I actually lost weight. Like part of the way, I would say like month 8 is when I started. I got really, really, really bad GERD, and it made me afraid to eat. So I lost like 20 pounds from that. And after I lost the
huh,
20 pounds, it made
that
it a
makes
little bit
sense.
easier to exercise. Um,
Damn. Okay. Good for you. Yeah, that's
thanks.
great. I love to hear it. Because yeah,
Uh,
once you get to a certain weight, just gets harder to move, and then you're just stuck in a cycle.
Yes, yes. And then I want to say I've lost 20 pounds from going vegan, but everything else that I've lost has been from working out and stuff, which I have to
Interesting.
get back to. I haven't started that back up since I got COVID.
I
It
mean,
really
the
fucked
majority
me.
of that surprised me because the majority of weight loss is calories in, calories out. When I lost 85 pounds, I
Mhm.
was eating the same shit. I was eating McDonald's, Subway, all the shitty things like pizza. The thing is, I ate less. I did two things. First thing, I removed sugar from my diet. I didn't really eat many sugary things.
Mhm.
Second, I ate the same stuff I was eating before, but less portions, smaller portions, and like less often. So those two things alone are
Yeah.
what led to me losing 85 pounds in like a year or two.
When I was younger, I was really into fitness, and I definitely know that I cut out sugar and saturated fat only. That was a diet that I had that was really successful. But
Yeah.
I think right now it's just that I'm not active enough. It's just the like lifting weights makes you lose weight. Period. Being active, and I work from home now, so like I'm just not moving around that much.
Yeah. I mean, exercise, like, it does help. And I don't, like I said, I'm not like
Walking
a
doesn't help.
professional.
Lifting weights helps.
What I heard is that apparently, like, what you eat accounts for like 80% of it, and like the exercise counts for 20. Now, keep in mind, if you do a shit ton of exercise, then that's going to make significant like stuff, right? But if you're just like doing minor exercise, it's not going to really make a difference. And really, the food that you're eating is like the most important. Now, obviously, if you're like an NFL athlete, and you work out all day, those people eat like massive meals, but they're exercising so much that they're burning all of it away, right? But
Yeah, it
that's
depends on
like
how you're
the
working
point.
out. It
But
takes
that's like the
36
point
miles of walking to burn
zero.
a pound of fat. Whereas
Yeah,
you can lift
exactly.
weights for a short period of time and burn it off. My first 15 days of working out, I lost 15 pounds. I think it was like a pound a day on
That's
average,
crazy. That's
and that was just
crazy.
calisthenics. So yeah, um, it's not like super crazy. It's just however many calories you put in, you got to burn that many plus some. That's all. So your
Yeah,
body has to tap
that,
into it.
it's a lot of fucking work, and it's like the 0.01% how are doing like extreme stuff. Like maybe in your case it's not as extreme, but you can agree that the vast majority of Americans are not working out nearly as much in order to make exercise a significant part of their weight loss. I mean, it can
True.
be.
Most of
I
them
think
incorporate a lot of
exercise,
walking, which is the problem. And they get
yeah,
discouraged because walking is super bad at burning fat. We're really good at walking, so you're not straining much. Our bodies are designed to walk. So
interesting.
you gotta do the thing that you're not normally doing, which is picking up heavy stuff and putting it down. That's gonna strain the muscles. That's gonna demand a high calorie intake. And then you gotta switch it
Well,
up so your muscles aren't used to it and they're not good at it. You're straining more, you're burning more.
I'm going to be honest. I do not know much about fitness. Big shocker here. I've never been athletic in my life. Just not, never had it going for me, but that's okay. You know,
I played a bit of baseball and tennis growing up, so and just in
interesting.
general, I did a lot of like weightlifting and a lot of calisthenics.
What's that?
Things like push-ups, sit-ups, dead
Oh,
bugs, just things where
I,
you're using
I,
your own body weight against you for the weight.
I could never do a push up. Even when I was like 12, I couldn't do a push up. Like in PE, they made you do push ups. I could never do a proper push up.
The summer I got into shape, my goal was to do a pull-up. I wanted to be able to do one pull-up. At the end of that summer, I was able to do 16 of them. I was really happy.
Yeah, that's that. I'm probably like one of the least athletic people you'll ever meet. So,
I get it. It's generally speaking, it's not for me, but once I get in the swing of things, I get going pretty good.
well, you sound like you're much more athletic than I am, which isn't really saying much, but you know,
I have a history of it at least. I need to get back to it. I'm very self conscious that I'm not. I've just been busy. Um,
that's okay. Don't beat yourself up over it.
uh,
Hello? You still
yep,
here?
yeah. I was just removing somebody from my chat.
I'm not even looking at the chat. I'm like multitasking because like it's just easier to, lay down.
Like
I
I
don't
can
know.
tell you the comments were not great during the polyamory discourse.
They weren't on my side, or they were not.
Oh, they were on your side, you said?
I said they weren't on my side, and they were like not agreeing with me and saying some stuff. Or am I wrong?
Yes. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Typical,
Um,
what I expect.
I chose not to read them out loud because I think some of it might get me in trouble if I did, but also I wanted the conversation to be between me and you and not between me, you, and my chat.
Yeah, just like I want a relationship between. I'm not even gonna go there, but you know what I mean. It's funny. It's a funny thing in this context.
Uh,
I'm sorry. Maybe it's not.
I respect it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Sorry.
but hey, by all means, I am definitely one to take a clever, playful shot. Um, but
No, conversation between two people is different than a conversation between three. There's
uh,
differences there.
just moving forward in the future, I know that we have that, and I can take little jabs if I think it's funny. I'd only do it for the sake of humor, though, not to like hurt your
Okay.
feelings.
I mean, I don't want to hurt your feelings. Like, I get that it's
I
personal
believe you.
shit,
I believe you.
Okay.
You seemed concerned
Okay.
when you were saying it, and
Thank you.
like, look, I am
But if you,
well known as Mr. Girl's biggest fan. Okay, I have had some nasty fucking comments that far exceed the things that were said tonight.
let me guess, people called you a pedo because you support Mr. Girl or
Oh,
something.
yeah, that's baseline, but people can go pretty hard.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's like a given. You can just say like I liked one of his videos and people like, "Oh, pedophile." Okay. Um
Yeah,
so, but no,
I
like I've
figured.
had people be pretty vicious and I'm surprised in real life, I'm a pretty sensitive person. I've been really surprised how much everything that all the negative things when people say about me, it just rolls off my shoulders pretty effortlessly, and I've been really surprisingly grateful for it.
Neat.
I don't know what's up with that. I would have expected me to be the kind of person that stuff would get to, but it's not at all.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I know some people have a really hard time with it, and I don't blame them. I would have expected the same, but yeah, I'm not. You didn't hurt my feelings in the least. This has been a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, you think so? I'm glad.
Yeah, I didn't expect to like more like get into like an impromptu debate with you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, that's the
No,
thing
I
is
think this
like
is a positive.
when I get into debates like this, I mean, obviously, I don't pretend to know everything. So it's like, well, I don't know like all this shit. Like, I don't know like how I'm supposed to, argue in this way. So I wasn't like expecting all this to happen. So I'm just kind of winging
Same.
it. And it's like, but, I mean, it's always fun. I'm just a very opinionated person, as you can clearly tell.
Uh,
So
I am also a very opinionated person. Um, by the way, you don't happen to play any fighting games, do you? Or anything that can be like 1v1?
sometimes maybe. Why? You
Uh,
want to
and
play
then,
or?
well, I was in the near future, we can. In the near future, I'm starting a show called Fight Me, where I'm people are going to compete in each other or compete with each other in a 1v1. Probably generally a fighting game because I think the best way to do it. But also Elden Ring, since that became multiplayer, that
Um,
almost everybody has that. But like anything that
I
two
mean,
people have the same game for, they can compete. Make them debate while they're playing the game. It's kind of like a internet
that's
version of like
interesting.
chess boxing.
That's actually really interesting. I mean, do you play Smash Bros?
I have it. I dabble with it a little bit. For me, Smash Bros is the fighting game that's supposed to be fun, and like stress free. Like
Um,
I'm like in Mortal Kombat 10, I was like god tier. I was in like the top 800 on the leaderboard on
that's
PlayStation.
insane.
Uh, Thank you. Agreed. I had a friend who came over every day and played me, and he was better than me. And after getting better than him, like it was nuts. I got like the Jason ladder, and I got in like fifth place on the Jason ladder. Um,
I'll be honest. I don't like I said. I maybe I was being a little deceptive. Like I don't really play fighting games. Like I know Smash Bros, but like I just own a Switch and it's never on it. Like
sure.
I own most of the games there. I just for whatever reason it never really appealed to me. Like the most of the Xbox and PlayStation games. Like I look at what's there and I'm like, that doesn't interest me. That doesn't interest me. I don't know why. I mean, like I hear like a lot of like people love like those gaming systems. Just maybe I just don't see it. I don't know. Or like,
Well, the interesting thing is, in order to win in the show, you have to win the debate and the fighting game.
no,
And
wow.
yeah, so it's like a true test here on both ends. And if I get enough winners, I'm gonna put them together, and there will be a prize for the winner of that.
That's cool.
So
I
if you are
definitely.
interested, you can send me a list of games that you play that can be like competed against, like people that you can invite or whatever, and I can put you on the list of people.
I'll think about it. When it comes to chess boxing, I don't do boxing. I play chess though. So there's the half of it. I do the half that isn't violent.
Correct. Yeah, and this is a more vegan approach to the idea. Instead of people punching each other in the face, they're playing a game against each other.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I guess I don't know. I was gonna say is it because I'm a pacifist, but it's like I don't think like playing a game makes you less of a pacifist. Although, like, I wouldn't play something that's like extremely violent. Like, if there's like blood spewting everywhere and people are getting mauled to death, like maybe I wouldn't be super thrilled about those games. But it's like Fortnite, for instance. Like, it's a game where you shoot people, but it's like
It's
I don't
cartoony.
know. It's cartoony, and it's like it's weird because should I be against it? I don't know. Maybe I'm just not like as strict as I could be, and it's like at the end of the day, we all know it's not. It doesn't really mean anything about your own real life world politics. Like just
Yeah.
because you shoot people in a game doesn't mean you own a gun and you want to do that in real life. Like obviously,
Sure. So what you're saying is that you're not a big fan of the game Manhunt.
What's Manhunt?
Oh, it was I think it was a PS2 game, and like you're dropped into this more or less like a city-sized obstacle course, and as you go through, you have to like brutally murder all the people that are put there to like get your way out. Some guy like
Oh
sets it up, and
God.
like they're videotaping you to like sell the tapes or something, and like you can kill people with like you can put a plastic bag over their head, and you can choose like a more gentle, like medium, and like extra violent way to kill them. Like you can beat their heads open with hammers, you can choke them with a bag, you can piano wire them. I think at one point you get a nail gun. You can kill people with a nail gun.
Yeah, I'm not. Here's the thing. I'm not a fan for the sake of like just violence for the sake of yeah. I want to see blood and guts. I want to see people get teared open. Like I don't get that. When I see like games, like if there's a game mechanic where it just makes sense for that to be the case, and it just so it happens to involve like killing people, like okay, well you know the game mechanic makes sense. But when you're going into the theatrics of it all, like oh, it's just a little interesting.
Yeah, I
I
feel like
think
Manhunt's really good if
violence
you ever
is
wanted to be a serial killer.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if I go that far. I don't think that just because you play games like that, that actually means anything. I don't want to be like one of those conservatives from like 2008 who makes those claims. I mean, maybe there's some truth, but I don't fucking know. Maybe
uh,
there is.
it would take a lot to convince me. I think, because it could also be too that more, if you have a propensity to violence, you're going to be more likely to play the games too. So it might not even line up. But I think Manhunt was banned in like
Possible.
nearly 20 countries too.
Yeah, well, all right, that's shocking.
Um, I know it's getting late. I can hear you yawning. If
No,
you
I'm sorry.
no, by all means. If did you have anything else you wanted to say? Otherwise, we can wrap it up now.
It's up to you. I'm cool with keeping going. I'm cool with ending. I mean,
Did you have
just
anything
wherever the
else?
conversation takes us. I can't think of anything, but if there's anything else you wanted to say, like, tell me.
Um, well, I was gonna say despite the fact that we had like that impromptu debate and all that, I'm not saying that the Zeekster. Despite the debate and all that we had sort of on the fly there, I don't have any hard feelings, and I wouldn't mind talking to you again in the future when something interesting comes up.
Yeah.
Particularly like I think that you'd be an interesting person to tap to get your take on things too. So
Because I have a unique take, you know?
oh, you certainly do. Zeekster, there's a reward for that. Um, so yeah, I hope that you're open to speaking again in the future.
I have no reason not to. I think it'd be full. I mean, just depends on my scheduling. And I'm sorry this had to be scheduled so many times.
No, I'm pretty okay. I'm pretty understanding. I've had to like reschedule things around my schedule too. Like my van doesn't work, and like right now we're just kind of on like my girlfriend's car. So like if they both have to work in the same day, usually like I have to like take and drop them both off, so that way somebody who's like home and like free can go and like pick them up and stuff. Like scheduling's tough in general.
Okay.
Like life happens a lot, so I never have any issue with that. I'm just glad that we got to like have a proper like wrap up to the last one. We both had things. I had like two things happen and your phone died all at the same
Yes.
time. So it was a mess. And by the way, I don't know if I told you the thing that happened, the thing that the dog wrecked after my wife calmed down, we pulled it out of the garbage and it was like pretty fine.
Oh, okay, cool.
She was just very upset because she thought it was ruined.
Oh, okay.
Uh
That's
well
interesting.
uh
Is it late for you? What time is it for you? If you don't mind me asking.
12:36.
PM? Like, or sorry, midnight?
Yeah, it's midnight. I'm in Michigan.
Oh, cool.
Wow, almost nobody says that. Somebody yesterday in a Discord that I like basically live in was like, "Wait, are you from Michigan?" I said, "Yeah," and they said, "Fuck that," and I was like, "I get
I
it."
mean, I like I I don't like saying this. My sister lives in Michigan right now, so it's like I'm kind of but I live in Arizona. Like my entire life I've lived in Arizona. I'm a little familiar with Michigan recently, but I just feel like Michigan could be an okay state. I just feel like a lot of like the big centers where people live are like not super great. Like Detroit isn't really a great city. Flint isn't really a great city. So it's just
Saginaw.
like
Saginaw's beat Detroit
I
for more crime several times over.
where I don't know what's I've like I said, I've never personally been to Michigan. What is Saginaw?
Saginaw is just another city. Flint, Detroit, and Saginaw are always on like the top 20 highest crime in the United States. But honestly, I lived in Saginaw. I had somebody try to sell me mushrooms at a gas station, and I seen one dude selling crack the whole time I lived there. Like nothing else was like
So
super crazy. I drove for Lyft in Detroit. Nothing shady ever happened to me. Uh, so there's shit that happens, but like it's a big city. I think that you're probably pretty fine to visit any of them. My issue with Michigan is the rural areas.
hmm.
Um, that's where I have all the problems. That's where people are like really shitty and hateful and like make your life worse. Like sure, my car's more likely to be stolen in Detroit than it is in rural Michigan, but I'm a lot less likely to get a job because people think that I'm Middle Eastern in rural Michigan.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Um, what was I gonna say? So that whatever the Saginaw, whatever the fuck the name of the city is, where's that
Saginaw.
located? Where is it located?
You know Midland? Oh wait, I can
I
just do
I
the thing. It's like here
oh, I'm not looking.
ish.
I'm not looking at the screen. Like, how far is it from Detroit, Flint? Like, what's like part of the state? Like, if like
So you have the
north.
mitten. If you go into like the webbing of like the thumb and you go south, uh, let's see.
So does that mean it's like the southern end by Detroit, like by the Canadian border?
So Detroit is like down underneath the thumb. If you're using your hand as a map in Michigan, for which we all do in Michigan,
Okay.
you would go straight up to like just below the webbing where your thumb and the rest of your hand meet.
So it's like
Thumb
a little
Detroit's
bit
like at the
more.
bottom of your the bottom of your knuckle of your thumb,
So
like the bottom
Saga,
knuckle.
whatever, it's a little more northwest,
Uh, yeah. It's a lot more north, a little more west.
like maybe 100 miles if I had to guess, or is
It's a
that a
hundred. It's
wrong guess?
103 miles from Detroit. Yeah,
Holy shit, that was a good guess.
Michigan's fucking huge.
Damn. Okay. Wow. Yeah, I just live in like the Phoenix area, like I said. You
I,
know,
I got you. I
I've
don't
lived
live in
here all my
Detroit,
life.
but I
Well,
get there in like 15 minutes.
you don't have to dox yourself. You don't have to tell me where you
Oh,
live. It's okay.
that's not a dox. There's so many areas that covers. And as being
I
vague.
believe. I
And
know.
I
I know.
I've been pretty open about being near Detroit in streams.
Yeah. Is it true that it's just like it was like a big manufacturing city and now it's just like empty and it's just like a lot of like what is it like being near Detroit? What is Detroit like? Tell
Uh,
me.
Downtown Detroit, it looks a lot like any other bigger city. Like I've been to Ann Arbor a lot, and I say Ann Arbor looks like a clean, hip Detroit. Uh, Detroit
Is Ann
is
Arbor a good place to live or no?
it's one of it's my favorite place in the world. Yeah, it's like
Really?
usually like tops the charts of like the best places to live in the United States. Yeah,
Does it really? Even though it's like right next to Flint and Detroit, you really think
it's
it's
not
like
right
a
next to
good place?
them. It's not right next to them. Ann Arbor's about I'd say like 45 minutes from Detroit.
Okay. Oh, Saginaw. It's Saginaw. I found it on the map. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
okay, interesting.
but downtown Detroit's really cool. There's a lot of like really cool places. But yeah, it there's you can definitely tell there's like the remnants of like the big city it used to be. There used to be a lot of automotive. Like we were like the automotive like hub for like the United States, and like so like we were like one of the top like vehicle manufacturers in the world, and that shit just like died out. Saginaw too. Actually,
Yeah.
they had a bunch of Delphi plants close, led to a lot of unemployment. People are always talking about Detroit's gonna have a comeback, but like we need some big tech
Hmm.
company to move there or something because a lot of empty buildings. But
Yeah.
if you're not downtown and like you drive around, like there's places that look intimidating on site. Have you seen the movie Barbarian?
No, I haven't.
That's a horror movie, and this chick stays at an Airbnb and she goes to an interview that's in Detroit, and the woman was like, "Where are you staying?" She's like, "Oh, I'm in oh fuck, where is it? I know the area, Brightmoor," and my wife and girlfriend and I are all like, "Oh," uh, And the woman was like, "Oh, don't stay there." And we were all like, "Correct, do not stay there." There's
Wait,
areas
why?
that
What's
it's fucking shit.
I
It
believe
is.
you.
It's a terrible, terrible place to be. It's just super bad crime. Um, Mine and my wife's ex girlfriend lives in Brightmoor still. One time she woke up and she was like, "I'm so fucking pissed." I was like, "Why?" She sent us a picture. There was like a bullet just in her house. A stray bullet got shot into her house, and she found it.
What the fuck?
Yeah. One time I was driving for Lyft. I was in this place called Highland Park,
Like
and I
guns
stopped at
are
a Taco
bad.
Bell to use the bathroom, and the Taco Bell inside had bulletproof glass, and they had to like buzz you into the bathroom, and I had to press a button to like undo the mag lock so that I could get out of the bathroom.
This is literally third world country shit. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
It's
this is
wild.
like more. I am extremely anti-gun, right? So this just confirms what I think. It's absurd and insane. Like no other country, like the United States, has this kind of problem. But
I don't think it makes me more anti-gun, but it makes me anti want to fucking go to Highland Park.
I mean, true. Uh,
Yeah, it's definitely one of my least favorite places to be. I had to do an estimate there for security cameras on this house. And when I was there, the guy who was, it wasn't even his house. He was just like there to show me the house. And he just showed me his gun. He lifted up his shirt and showed me his gun. Like, well, that's cool. I didn't ask to see it. Uh,
wow.
it was really weird.
Hmm.
Uh,
Interesting.
yeah, but like Detroit itself, I would say Detroit's pretty chill. Detroit's definitely a vibe. If you go there, you can tell people from Detroit who've lived there their whole lives, they have like a very cool, unique. There's a very cool, unique feel to it. Like right away, there's a lot of pride in
Okay.
that city.
Interesting. I
That's why
just hear a
people won't
lot of shit
move.
about it. A
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
people don't
It,
like
it mostly
Detroit.
feels overblown, but like deep down, you know it isn't. Uh, because like I think that if you live in Detroit, you're definitely going to have seen some things. If you live near Detroit and you go there, like even semi often, I'd say that you're probably not going to have a whole lot of issues.
Okay.
But if you live there, you're in it all the time, you're going to see some shit for sure.
Interesting. Okay. That must be weird being right next to Canada.
It is. I consider myself an alienated Canadian patriot. I want to I want to live in Canada really bad.
Oh, really? Why?
Uh, Canada's, in a lot of respects, Canada is what we pretend we are. It's like what
Why
America.
so?
It's like what Canada is what I thought the United States was when I was a little kid. Like the way that their government like views and interacts with its people.
Okay.
I think they just care about their citizens more. They have a lot more. You'd like it more. They don't have any. They don't have like guns, which I could give up just fine for like the healthcare. And like social programs. Like they look after their poor people really well. Um, Canada doesn't get involved heavily into a lot of conflicts. We tried to invade Canada once, and they kicked our asses.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Canada's it's cool. Also, they probably have like top five prettiest world leaders too. Justin Trudeau, like I ain't even into dudes, but he's a pretty man.
He also did blackface.
True. He
Sorry,
did.
I know that's random. That's one of the things I know about the dude. Apparently I don't fucking know much about Justin Trudeau, but I know he isn't liked by some, maybe mostly conservatives. I don't know what the fuck he did.
He's pretty liberal. I would say that if you're a politician and you've been in as high of a seat of power as him for as long as he has, having done blackface is probably pretty low end on the scandals. If you look at like our politicians,
Hey, what did Justin Trudeau do?
it
Or
was the
sorry, how long has
blackface
he
thing.
been? How yeah, I know. How long was he in
Oh,
office for?
it's been a while.
No. Yeah, it's look
Um,
up. You don't want to.
oh, I already was. He's been in office for 7 years. He's on his eighth year.
Damn.
Trump knocks his shit out in a week.
Wow.
George, I don't know if you remember George W. Bush, but that was like something every week. Mostly just him being really fucking stupid.
I mean, the whole
Like,
9/11 stuff. I mean, I know that he
yeah,
was popular during that time. The war on like the Middle Eastern countries is kind of yikesy, not gonna lie.
the war on terror. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm old enough to remember that shit vividly.
How old are you? You don't mind me asking? You don't have to answer.
Yeah, I'm 34.
22, 2023 in a March.
Yeah, so the war on terror is kind of something you grew up with.
I was just 9/11 was just always a thing in my life. I was like one when it happened,
I
so
saw it happen. I saw the second plane hit live. I stayed home from school that day.
that's crazy. I can't imagine what that must be like. It's just been a thing that
it,
happened.
it was weird. I heard them talking about it on the radio, and they were like getting way too excited. I was like, I think something's going on, some planes, and they turned on the TV, and I watched the second one come, and they're like, "Oh, there's another one coming!" And I didn't really care because I was like 12 or something like that. And my
You
friend
didn't
got mad at
understand the
me.
significance.
Yeah, my friend got really mad at me because I said I didn't care.
Oh, okay. Oh, like 3,000 people died
Yeah,
and buildings got destroyed.
I don't think I care that much
Iconic
about
ones.
the buildings, but the people more so.
I know, I know, I know. Mostly the people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. Everyone saw the second one live, thinking it was the return of the first.
Nobody saw the first one apparently.
Well, yeah,
I mean, I guess there's
you're not going to be
photos
filming
of it.
it.
There was footage of it after the fact,
Yeah.
but no one saw the first one live. It was just news reporters after the first had already happened, apparently.
Yeah, yeah. I also saw somebody like on the ground get like their camera got like blown away and shit by debris live. That was I must say that was cool. It was interesting to see.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that video.
Yeah, I saw it like
Interesting.
as it was happening. It was confusing mostly.
I imagine it must have been confusing.
Yeah. It was a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So anything else?
yeah. I don't think so. Just again, if you think of it, feel free to send me a list of games that you play, and I'll hit you up if any of them are applicable. I know Smash Bros will be a thing. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't play it a ton. It's just I have it.
that's about where I'm at with it. People like to play with the items off, and that bums me out. I was like, this is the Mario Party of fighting games. But everybody got like really sweaty about it, and it's weird.
Well, Smash is the Mario Party of fighting games, and
I
that's why it's
agree.
good
I
because it's
agree.
not like super serious. I mean, I get that some people take it super, just like a fun little casual game. That's fun. Like don't take it too seriously. Like I'm not against people taking it seriously, but it has a really bad reputation, like the competitive sphere. I know that for sure.
I have some friends that play competitively, and they said that like all the jokes people make about Smash tournaments being particularly smelly are 100% accurate. The one guy was at a tournament. He's like, their AC just went out, and I'm dying. He ended up leaving that tournament because it stunk so bad.
Oh my god, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
and he was like still competing. He's like, fuck, dude, I'm out of here.
Oh
And
wow.
like originally I know him because he's a Magic nerd. So like that really it's really saying something if you can handle a card shop, but that Smash tournament fucking stunk you out when the AC died.
That's crazy.
I agree. I would not have guessed. But yeah, I think I'm good. I'm gonna try to get some food and see if either of my partners are awake. See if they want to do anything.
Okay.
All right. Again, I really appreciate you giving me your time and fitting me in. I know you're back. You're back going to school again, and so I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I guess
I
I
don't
just
have
like I
any
appreciate
classes
your
tomorrow.
time. Oh,
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
you're welcome. And if you ever see me like in the room or whatever, and you just want to chat, feel free to pop by.
Okay. Oh.
All right. Thanks for wait. Yeah, I know you just go by Rose, right?
Yeah, I just go by Rose. Why?
Oh, because I was gonna say your name when I was saying goodbye. I was gonna say,
Rosemulet.
Thank you very much, Rose, and I hope to speak to you again in the future.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great night.
You too. Bye.
Thanks. Bye. I dropped out for a while, but rejoined the stream. Nicely done, Drazi. Thanks. Were you here for the polyamory discourse? Because that was a thing. World peace and love stream. There we go. Oh no, thank you. Let me grab that. I'll check that out. Wait, did it filter it out? Nope, that's person I blocked. If you want to throw it in again, it might have got. Oh, well, I guess you couldn't throw it in again. You want to try posting it again? I can see if it's getting auto-modded or if, yeah, thank you. Oh yeah, I guess for people that are watching on Twitch, I'm dual streaming, so I have YouTube and Twitch chat. How do I wonder if I can get the last time I tried using Restream to like put them all together, didn't work very well. I should have that running next time. Oh. It's a wild ride of a story. That polyamory chat got a lot more contentious than I would have expected it to be honest. I didn't expect Rose to go that hard on it. I've never experienced that before. I had thought, and then like eventually towards the end of it, she did say like it's just a feeling thing. But I was hoping. See, that's what I would consider to be like being wrong for the wrong reasons, though. Like if you just have a feeling, but you want to prevent a thing from happening, I think that's bad. But I think that well, yes and no. Like you do assume that, but like that's not really the issue that I had. It's just that it's just like the arguments. It's like the same arguments that are used against transgender people. But like I think that like I understand that it's just a feeling thing. It's just very hard to engage and interact with and like try to persuade somebody over to your side if it's just a feeling thing. Like I respect a lot that at the end of that, or like somewhere towards the end of that, she did say like it's a feeling, and so a lot of people will do everything that she did in that argument, but then they won't say that. So they act like, so there's like an implication that, oh, my face is going away. So there's like an implication that like there's more than just a feeling there. So I at least respect the fuck out of the fact that she was willing to say like it's a feeling that I have, and like okay, feelings are a reason to care about something. They 100% are. You don't have to be sorry, Rose. Yeah, people can have different viewpoints, but at least if it, as long as it's said that it's just a feeling, then to me it's much better to say that it's just a feeling, because then we're not proposing that there's some like inherent truth of the matter that could be accessed about it, and like that's just how this thing, like, demonstrably it is this way, which I think is where things get really out of hand with people when somebody's like saying like if uh it just is like if you say it's my feeling, then it leaves some room open to saying like, okay, well, um like if I'm watching this and go, okay, well, that's how they feel. um there's like no there's like I'm not being given like any data or anything like that. I understand it's just how they feel. So it's you're not like, essentially nobody's attempting to convince somebody of like the reality of a situation. You're just trying to express like how you feel about a thing, and I'm always all for that. Did you end up reposting that? So I didn't know if it's getting auto modded. Oh yeah, you know what I haven't done yet, and I should do before I get out of here. Nope, I'm bad at this. I usually do it in Twitch chat a lot too. Put a link to my Discord into the chats, and I didn't do that on either of them this time. I usually have my stream deck is like kind of offline at the moment. I don't know what the deal is there. I either have a button for it, but I need to set that up for. Oh yeah, it's getting auto modded then, because like I can't even see that it was posted and removed. Heck, I don't know how to stop that. I don't know how to make it not auto mod that. Heck. Let's see if I can. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure. But if you oh, okay. Cool. You're in the Discord. Yeah, you can share it in there and I'll be sure to check it out. Um Tomorrow I'm streaming with Portland is Burning. He is the strongest advocate against free speech that I've interacted with. He has said the words "fuck your free speech," and then today he said it again on Twitter, and then tagged me and said, "Especially yours." So it should be a good conversation. And maybe tomorrow I'm going to be talking to somebody online, like the name somebody, Buddy, about free speech as well. And I think I have a free speech conversation with Beckett. Wait, I lied. Those are both on Saturday. I'm mixing my days up. Well, technically it's tomorrow. On Friday night, though, I'm talking to Beckett about it. Beckett is the only person that I think might actually understand what it means when they say that they're a free speech absolutist. And he said that he's a free speech absolutist. So, cool. I'm gonna check that out. Probably while I'm working. If it's really interesting, I'll take some notes and go over it on stream before I talk to Beckett. And if you want to see any of that, if you're on Twitch, you can follow me. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to me. Definitely need more YouTube subscriptions, you guys. Smeth is killing me in the YouTube department. I'm doing a lot better on Twitch than I am on YouTube. I know I started streaming here, but like, gotta get the numbers up. I'm just kidding. I'm glad Smeth's doing as good as he is. Slick, cool man. Thank you. All right. Well, let's see. When was this created? Okay, this is an old account. Okay. I had to ban somebody from the YouTube chat because there's a troll who fucked with me and actually Mr. Grill too on Twitter, and then like in the Discord as well, and his Discord as well. I was making sure that he didn't get into my Discord because I banned him from my Discord too. He was harassing somebody I knew IRL about like Twitch poll stuff, and that's not cool. You don't need to bring people who are outside of Twitch poll into Twitch poll drama bullshit. Hey, what up? Keen to see what's going on here. Looks like you got quite the schedule lined up. Yeah, it's kind of like formed together really well just today. Um, just for the record too, when I did the traditional versus non-traditional panel on Wix show, Smith do be rocking it. I really enjoyed streaming with him. When I did that panel, Erudite said she'd be interested in talking to me about my, in her words, historical revisionism regarding polyamory. I did extend a hand out to her, so fingers crossed I'll get to talk to her about that. Because I think she's pretty honest, and if I bring my points to the table, I think that we could have a really good conversation about how I think that monogamy is an inherent byproduct of patriarchy, even if it's like unintentional. I think that uh, the systems that were in place when monogamy became the standard, it was bound to because women were property. People sold their daughters to guys to marry them off. And monogamy is a great system to keep women in check so that they don't do things that their husband don't want them to do. And I ain't really about that. So I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna be dual streaming from now on. So if you see me on YouTube, I'll be on YouTube. If you see me on Twitch, I'll be on Twitch. I'm just gonna keep on doing this as long as I don't have any weird technical issues. I used to have really bad audio on YouTube when I dual streamed. It doesn't seem like that's an issue anymore. So I'm gonna keep going forward like this from now on. So I'm out of here for now. Have a great night. And wow, quite a few people like the stream. Thank you very much.